Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Sean Bell.
What up?
Matt Murray.
Hello there.
And James Farley.
Hello.
I'm back. I am back. And God, have I missed this.
He's back.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, I've really missed doing this podcast. I mentioned on the bonus show, I might as well mention here because I've sort of been a little bit cryptic on. Well, not cryptic. I just was being vague on Twitter. But yeah, we lost someone very close to us a couple of weeks ago, so we've had 2 weeks of dealing with that and everything that goes along with that, and it's been shit. And you know, we said again on the bonus show that went out recently that the one thing you cling on to in these situations is this podcast for some reason. I mean, how many times have we said it, that you sit down to do one of these things and go, I really can't tonight. I really can't. I've got all this stuff going on in my life. And then 2 hours later, you're like, yes, well, got to say again, James. Yeah. So, but even like, so not being able to do this for 2 weeks has properly sucked. But I'm back now. I am back, and I'm excited to talk about video games.
What's weird is that it feels like way longer than 2 weeks.
It really does.
It feels like
It really does. It feels like I've been off for like at least a month.
It really does.
It does feel like a month. Yeah, it's weird.
It's crazy, isn't it? But okay, before we get into the video games and stuff, let's start with the Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Happy Birthday Sam and Neil, Gabsy, Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Happy New Year Sam, Love from Neil, Grey Dragon Claw, Fred Fenge, Smooth Monkey, Happy Mother's Day Sam, Love from Dr. Farley's Sexy Fan, and Don Whiskerando. How did you do it, Sean?
Whiskerando
or Riscarando?
Whiskerando. I don't know.
I don't know, but both of them work.
Also,
I love it.
Does Dr. Farley's Sexy Fan need to update theirs to Father's Day? Because that's looming now, isn't it?
It is looming. I didn't even realise that until I went into yeah, I mean, you gotta love the advertising around Father's Day, right? You go into any shop and it's like, get your dad this. He'll like, this is beer and boxer shorts.
Game a can of fucking diesel. Fucking
lead. What? Sorry, what? We got sale on lead for Father's Day. Lead, yeah. The metal, yeah. Why? Father's Day, innit?
Yeah.
Blokes.
Get an engine and a hammer to hit it with. It'd be fine.
Screwdriver set.
That and some grouting. You know, just...
I actually could do with a new screwdriver set, if anyone's listening.
Well, there you go.
Him.
You'll probably get some money off this time, wouldn't you? Like, Millwall Football Club are doing a tour of the Den specifically for Father's Day, and I'm sitting there thinking, what makes it different from any other tour of the Den? What's the difference? What's it going to be? Are you going to go in and go, your dad? Yep. Here's a certificate.
They go around and say, "Oh, this player."
And here are the changing rooms.
Yeah, they're going. So this player scored the winning goal in the FA Cup, and and they're a dad. So this person, they've got a dad. So that's
So can we just have? At this point during the tour, I would all like to stop and let's have a quick round of applause for the dads, please. Round of applause for the dads.
Well done.
You done a bloody good job.
Do you guys do much for Father's Day?
No.
No. I think I usually get like a pair of socks or something for the kids, and that's fun. And Joe maybe lets me lay in a little bit.
Yeah, it came up with friend of the show Chris Spann the other day, and I was saying like I don't expect like a gift, but yeah, just like a lie-in and some pastries would be smashing.
Yeah, that's all you need. It's funny because Joe goes, what should we do? You know, because it's Father's Day, let's take the kids to the park. And I'm like, but that's work.
Exactly.
Like, surely,
isn't it? Yeah.
Surely Father's Day is, I'll take the kids to the park.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it's
it's like
some time together, and
it's like are you being thanked for the effort you put in, or are you supposed to celebrate being a parent? Like it's...
I know, but then when it's the other way around, when it's Mother's Day, my initial instinct is right. Okay, try and find something I can take the kids to. Just let Joe like have a bath and just have a nice day. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's It's not reciprocated. Is what I mean, Sean. And also, I'm constantly reminded that Father's Day is a load of bollocks. So I mean,
because Chris said he's like, it's a made up day though, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, but all
ultimately,
days
they're all made up, aren't they? That's
even
so
Christmas.
That's the whole point. The whole point with traditions is that they are bollocks, but they're just an excuse. Like that's enough, you know.
Do you love it? I bet you love a tradition, don't you, Sean?
I do. That's why I love Christmas
like a
so
tradition.
much.
It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to. I don't think.
Well,
but
it depends.
It's about a tradition.
No, if you're the one having a go at other people for not doing traditional things, that's bad. But I think if you have your own little sort of rituals around an event, I think that's fine. I think that's nice.
Rituals.
You know what I mean?
The fact that you've described them as that is scary.
No, I just mean at Christmas, I don't know why I'm talking about Christmas. It's fucking June when this comes out, but
comes out,
I might delay it. If James is listening, this will be out in November.
But do you know what I mean? We always get a real tree, right? And people are like, oh, why'd you bother with a real tree? It's a pain in the ass. I'm like, yeah, but we've always done it, and it's just I like going out to a weird farm somewhere and giving a guy 50 quid and getting getting a tree that's going to ruin my living room.
Getting rid of them a fucking nightmare.
It is, but it still smells nice. That's all that matters.
I've got a green bin, some
We've had a fake tree for as long as we've been together, me and Joe, right?
Yeah.
And every year we put it back in a box and go, what a fucking disaster that tree is. Next year we're definitely buying a new one. Next year rolls round, just get it out of the box again. Let's get that same shitty tree out of the box. That'll do. Yeah. Okay, that's a Christmas chat.
It's round the corner, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Only 17 more sleeps. I think that's about right.
Merry Christmas, love from Dr. Farley's Sexy Fan. That's what we should change.
If you would like to support us on Patreon, please go to patreon.com/TCGS. There are other tiers other than the Full Nels one, but the Full Nels one's the best one. So go for that. Just go for that. Don't even look at the price.
It's not important. It's just very simple. Do you love us? Yes or no?
Do you want Sean to get a new screwdriver set? Yes or no?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You want to bankroll that? You should.
Do you enjoy this podcast? Are you feeling guilty about accepting all this free content? Well, don't need to be guilty anymore. Go full Nels. Or
we'll absolve you.
You could check out. We put our new bonus show out this week, and I'll tell you something. There are 2 songs that Sean Bell's band wrote and performed.
Mm.
We play 2 of his songs and react over the top of it. That was terribly worded. But believe me, you've got to hear it. It's unbelievable. We hear Bike for a Spike, Bike with a Spike, and Mexican Cop. They're the 2 tracks we listen to. And the only way you'll get to hear those tracks is by signing up at the bonus podcast tier.
And it's a great time to sign up as well, because this show comes out on the 1st, and that's maximum value. Don't sign up on the 30th for the 31st. Sign up on the 1st and hear that listening party. There's 2 quite incredible tracks.
I'm glad you brought that up, Matt, because it's good to remind people that if you do sign up today, not only are you getting the maximum amount for your money, you also get a complete history of our bonus podcast. There's hours of content there, including how we had a slow meltdown through the pandemic, how we lifted up again as we coming out of the pandemic, and as we shot down again, going back into that pandemic.
There's a little fella, our friend Steve.
Yeah, our mate Steve.
Yep.
We shouldn't really talk about that, but you get to meet our mate Steve. You get to hear. Wasn't there a bit where Sean described how he lost his virginity? I think
that's going on there.
Sounds like the sort of thing I would bring up. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a great bit in, I think probably February, March 2020, when I said, this COVID thing's exciting, isn't it?
yeah. When you were excited about COVID. Right. Okay. So that's that. We also do talksovers and live streams.
Oh my God!
At the tier above that. This week's talksover, unfortunately, I was unable to attend. However, right, okay. No. Can I say from my point of view? Can I just explain what happened my end? Because you were all together. I was gutted that I was missing it, as usual. I wasn't at home. I got home when you were about 10 minutes in. All I knew about this is that James had picked what you were all going to talk over. And I think it was the Games Master Gore special.
It was the Games Master Gore special, yeah.
Okay. It was the Games Master Gore special. So I got home, I quickly loaded up my phone, checked the stream out, and you were watching. It was like bodies being cut up, right? It was like one of those Bodyworks things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like 6 minutes of that
legitimate
computer game
scientific medical thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So I watched that, and I thought, okay, yeah, it's the Gore special. Okay, and then I had to do a couple of bits. Did a couple of bits around the house, and then I got my phone out again and thought, I'm just going to see where they're up to now if they're still streaming. I logged on. And the three of you were on the right-hand side watching a video of a man licking a woman's leg. And I thought, fucking hell, this has taken a turn. And then as it went on, there was just full frontal nudity. There was...
Well, hang on. It was top half only, right?
Nope.
Oh, God, maybe I've...
It started off as top half only, Sean.
Right,
Sean,
sorry, maybe I've...
See the...
Oh God! I know. Maybe I've missed. Maybe my brain's like protecting me from the sinful images.
No, Sean, you were making sounds that implied you had seen exactly what's happening on screen.
Because you went like this. You went. Oh, it's full.
No, that's right.
Like
there is a yes. That's right.
There was the bit. There was the bit with the shower hose and all that kind of stuff.
I remember now.
Oh, James, come on. I mean. Like, seriously, this is legitimately bad, right? Because you can get us banned from places for this stuff, and you will always go down as the person that wanted to show us porn on a live stream.
But that's the thing, right? It's called the Games Master Gore special. It wasn't the porn special. And it's like, I didn't watch it back, obviously, before we watched it.
Okay, there's your clearly.
Why would you do that? I should have done that. I should have watched it back. But then, all I could remember is, there was a lot of Kasumi Ninja in the game. I remember there was a lot of that.
Yeah,
a lot of Jaguar adverts. And then, I also remember that there was a brief bit about, like, internet porn as well. But,
no, you idiot.
No, because I thought, right, this is from, like, the mid-90s. So, my expectation was that this was all going to be like postage stamp sized, like images that were all like heavily pixelated,
James,
and it wouldn't matter. I didn't know they were going to go full FMV on the whole thing.
You are aware that in the 90s we had newspapers that just had topless women on.
But not on the internet though. Like on the internet, there was stuff.
The internet.
Obviously.
You're right. The internet was squeaky clean.
But no. It was like you couldn't watch. Like it was more difficult to watch. Like full motion video on the internet at that time.
Was it? I
wasn't trying, but
it was more difficult to do.
It was frustratingly difficult.
It was so difficult. I said it was more difficult to view that kind of material, and that's
also really
what James means is. What James means is it was easy enough to find, it just the quality wasn't quite there for him.
and it took upwards of 30 minutes to download something that was about 30 seconds long.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Right, okay, the other disappointment that I had is that none of you went, oh no, there's not more, is there? Oh, there is more. Right, that's that disappointment. But mainly, James, I mean, that was madness. When I logged on and saw, as I say, full frontal nudity on our YouTube channel with James just going, I didn't know it had this.
I didn't know. It was...
But you just said that you did know.
No, I didn't know it was this bad.
On there.
I didn't know it was going to be this bad, though. I seriously thought it was going to be like low quality, like GIFs or something.
James promised us
GIFs?
It wouldn't be bad. Like I said at the beginning, like James, is this going to be problematic? Like, will there be some, horrible jokes? And there were some, very 90s jokes in there that was uncomfortable.
We were expecting that though.
And you're like, well, I think there's a bit about, it gets a bit sexy or whatever. And I'm like, well, but it's not going to be, we're not going to get in trouble. He's like, no, it'd be very small and pixelated. I'm like, well, that's fine then, James. Thank you for guaranteeing that. Let's press play.
And then it went wrong.
Nothing bad could happen. I mean, and it kept escalating.
So genuinely, like, what happens now? Because obviously we streamed that, and then for patrons have got access to that for the next month, and then after that it's supposed to go live to the public. I assume, if YouTube hasn't taken it down already, that means the algorithm hasn't picked up on anything. But obviously, once it goes live for the general public, anyone could report it, right? So I guess are we saying?
I don't know how bad it is.
I think we should press some DVDs and post them out. That's
James,
something.
I'm pretty sure that's even more illegal than what you did in the first place. What are you mad?
You're suggesting counterfeiting.
But then we watched it on YouTube to begin with, so maybe I'm talking completely
exactly.
Maybe
this is what I don't understand, because it was on YouTube. There was no age limits or anything on it when it just was there, wasn't it? That's what I thought it'd be fine. It'll be fine.
Will it limit the reach of our account though if we're posting smut?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't put that.
No. It's not smut though, Sean. Hold on. It's not smut because it's for educational purposes. Like when we're talking over it.
For purposes of criticism and review, so it's fine.
Exactly. It was for the purpose of criticism and review.
Guys, Matt's got something to say. It sounds important.
I've just logged into our YouTube channel. It says we're banned. No, we're fine. But it does say on that video that the video is limited. It's running limited or no ads due to content identified as not being suitable for most advertisers. You can say that again.
So there we go.
So it's fine.
There we go.
Full
frontal nudity.
What I was driving at, sorry, is that just basically can we say like, oh, if you want to see the uncensored version, then you need to sign up because by the time it goes live to everyone else,
we can't call it TCGS After Dark because every fucking
too hot for YT.
Sorry, too hot for YT. Even though it is on YT, you just have to pay for it.
Okay. I'm going to go next level. I'm actually going to request a review. I'm going to make someone watch this.
Oh my god!
What the fuck?
Why would you do that?
No. What are you doing?
We could get ads on this.
Are you mad, Matt?
I'm with James. I think it's fine. Let's move on.
I'm going to request for someone to review our video.
Can you just download the video first before they just pull it?
What do you mean by that? Sean? What do you mean by pull it?
Oh,
right.
Let's move on. Let's move on. 60 minutes. We're going to get angry feedback now, aren't we, Sean?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we're not even on feedback. I haven't got any notes, but I did want to say that Imogen was absolutely fantastic. What a cracking guest.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully Imogen comes back again. Yeah, well happy. I mean, the guests have been amazing for ages now. And Imogen just came and it was brilliant as well. So that was good. Sorry, I haven't got any notes. I haven't got any notes, but let's get to the feedback from the listeners, Matt.
Okay. Oh, I mean, you don't have any feedback on James and the keys in the fridge moment? that was peak really. Farley.
I did think this though. I did think this. I thought when we get like guests on, you guys didn't do anything wrong, so this isn't a dig in any way, right? But when I was listening to it and I wasn't involved in it, so I had like a different perspective. I was thinking, we've got a guest on. And we've opened it with an email about how brilliant we are, a discussion about how we've nearly sold out on our TCGSCON tickets.
You know it.
And it was like, it just sounded like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that's to show that, because what someone like Imogen, who actually, writes for PC Gamer and stuff, she's probably thinking, I'll go on this podcast with these silly boys.
Shitty little podcast.
And it'll shut them up. It might be fun, but, whatever. So then it's nice for her to come on the show and for us to be like, we are somewhat legitimate.
But hold on. Are you saying that this was planned?
No.
Perfect. To perfection. Well, okay, what is the perfect order of these?
Yeah.
People don't realise. Right, it's not only that. It's the two sides of it. First of all, right, and again, it's not having a pop. No one did anything wrong. But
sounds like a pop.
But like, okay, whatever.
It does.
But like having a guest on and bigging ourselves up, I was a bit like, this is a bit weird.
We weren't bigging ourselves up. That's what the listeners said.
I'm not having a pop.
We're doing a standard intro,
right? The second thing is that what must a guest be thinking? Like, if they've not, because I don't think Imogen had heard the show before, right? You kind of get a sense of when people have heard the show and when they haven't. Mm-hmm. And then when she's sitting there, she's logged up. First of all, it's amazing hearing someone experience James Farley for the first time. Like that's always an absolute joy. She was just like, what?
Yeah, it was great, the reaction.
What are you talking about? And secondly, I was sitting down to talk about video games today. Oh, the computer game show. That sounds very dry and straightforward. I'll talk about video games. And, we're talking about putting keys in the fridge to make it cool in your pocket, are we? Within 5 minutes of it starting, are we?
Yeah, as I was doing the edit, I was about 11 minutes in, and Imogen had like a really exasperated. I was like, wow, it's going to be a good one. I think that's when she heard about James Farley and the keys, but let's get into that. The Cosmic Turtle feedback regarding keys in the fridge. Again, thank God we don't have a guest on this week. In classic Dr. Farley fashion, he was right, but for the wrong reasons. My dad used to put his keys in the fridge, not so they would be like a nice cold drink, but so he wouldn't forget his lunch before going to work. If the car keys are kept on top of your sandwiches, you literally cannot miss them when you rush out of the house.
That's fucking
so close,
genius.
James.
That is a system. I like that.
That is a very good idea.
Legitimately good.
Yep.
Yeah, I do that. I always put my headphones next to my glasses because I know that I'd forget my glasses if because I'll always grab my headphones. There's no way I'm walking places listening to ambient sound, Sean.
Imagine that.
Don't you get that thing, you know, like sometimes when you forget to take them and then there's just that moment of panic?
Never happens.
I never get that.
I
never get that
sometimes.
because it would be like me walking out without my shoes on. I'd literally shut the door and go, "What the fuck are my shoes?" / headphones. I'm not forgetting then, James. I can't listen to.
Yeah, I mean, headphones are it's keys, phone, headphones. Those are now the 3 essentials.
Okay,
possibly Master Katana. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it depends where you're going.
Huckabee. Well, if I go to Katana class, David. Can't imagine watermelons, I don't know. Darren Huckabee, the footballer, I assume. Hi, guys. Normally, I find myself nodding along with Sean Bell's well-considered, reasonable opinions.
Here comes a
However, I found my head shaking from side to side when he said the main Cyberpunk quest is better than the side missions. I recently completed a PS5 version, and for me, the side missions are by far the best material on the game. Some of the optional character missions with Julie, Johnny, Pan Am, and the detective River Ward really stood out for me in terms of good writing and character building, whereas the main quest is quite derivative sci-fi. I, Darren Huckabee, encourage James to give the side missions a go. Love the pod. From Darren.
So I mentioned this on WhatsApp during the week, didn't I, James? I was like, someone's sent some feedback in and they're absolutely right. I think I was in remembering the game. I think I'd sort of parceled a lot of that stuff sort of in with the main quest. So when I was thinking of side quests, I was thinking of like the Cyber Psycho stuff and the fucking AI taxis that have gone,
the fucking AI taxis.
The fucking AI taxis.
Actually.
It's quite a good band name, actually. That.
And not just hair fraud.
No, what is?
Spike! I'm a spy!
So basically there's a lot of side stuff in there that does feel quite filler-ish, but as you say, but then there's also side stuff that's like really sort of fleshed out, and like especially like the River Ward stuff I thought was really, really good.
I'll tell you what was good. Joe Robinson on Twitter sent me a list of ones that are worth trying, which was quite nice.
What a sad. I mean, you're just ripping the fun out of it, isn't it?
No,
like, isn't part of it? It's just like, this is a surprise that this is a good one. Here's a list of all the good side quests.
David, there's like hundreds of them, and it's just like there's some that are really, really good. So why wouldn't you want to seek those ones out?
And because the game does a really bad job of helping you figure out what's what as well. Like, even though it's sort of, there's like main jobs and then side gigs and stuff, but then within each of those there's good and bad stuff, and no clue as to like how substantial they are or the rewards you're going to get or anything. So it does feel like a bit of a crapshoot, doesn't it, James? When you're picking sort of what to do next.
I did one which was like a side gig job, and it was this one where it was this guy, his mechanical penis or whatever was malfunctioning.
Oh yeah,
and I had to take it. I had to take him to this like.
You had to take him to the hospital. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and that's it. And I was like, this. I'm not really.
I'm assuming something that comes up later, right? About that.
No, because then later on he just calls you and says, "Yeah, I've got it fixed now. Thanks, here's some money."
But I'm sure there's something.
And then the credits roll.
You'll come.
That was the main quest.
Yeah. You got the mechanical penis ending. Well done. Well done.
Oh, that's a really hard one to get.
Right, okay, whatever. Okay. Let's move on.
Kieran, just heard the feedback.
I got it.
Thank you, Sean. Just heard the feedback from the guy who destroyed his finger with a lump hammer, and James's story about dropping something on his own hand, which reminded me of an incident in my past. I was picking something up off the floor, stumbled forward slightly, and twiddled my own hand. It didn't hurt that much, but I sure felt like an uncoordinated moron afterwards. And now keep up the good work from Kieran.
Oh, that is incredible. Just sort of, imagine he'd like rolled forward and just...
The closest thing that I'd ever done like that is we used to play this game at school called Wall Ball, and basically you had to hit the ball against the wall as many times as you can. Whoever fucked up had to run to a bin the other side of the playground, right?
Mm.
And if you touched the bin, then you stayed in the game. But if someone got the tennis ball and hit the bin with the ball before you got there, you were out. Or if they hit you with the ball, you were out, right? And as I was running towards the wall where the bin was, the tennis ball hit the wall and then pinged back towards my leg. And for some reason, I lifted my right leg to avoid the ball so high that my whole body flung forward and I smashed my face into the wall.
Oh,
like it was, yeah,
Dave,
I almost broke my nose.
Are you aware that all of your childhood memories are horrible?
No, I've got some good ones.
Okay, it's just they always seem. I was sitting there thinking, like, right, when's this going to involve him getting really badly hurt?
Yeah, maybe going to involve a bin.
Yeah.
Well, that was that one. It's memorable bits, though, isn't it?
Dave, do any of your memories not involve tennis balls and a bin? Every story is like the same ending. We get it. Got the N64, tennis balls came through the window and fell into a bin.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, this is your life. Can we play Wallball at TCGSCon?
100%. Wallball is my favourite game.
Have they got set up for it in the Laser Quest place? I reckon they probably have.
Yeah, 100%. We're playing.
Yeah, let's just quit Laser Quest and we'll do Wallball with 150
shut
people.
down the whole Laser Quest and it's all Wallball.
Yeah,
Wallball is the best.
Speaking of TCGSCon,
no scoops in Wallball, by the way. No scoops. All right.
Okay.
Go on.
Shame. Speaking of that, Bobby the Duke, a feedback. I realise this won't mean a lot to a lot of listeners, but can we have a hair fraud reunion at TCGSCon?
I mean, no, because Chris the drummer lives in Tokyo and Chappie the bassist he's in the military, so God knows where he might be.
Yeah, but Sean, there's things these days called planes.
Yeah, or Zoom. We could do it on Zoom.
Do it live over the internet.
Do everything on Zoom these days.
We'd be no worse in terms of coordination than we were stood in the same room together, so it'd be all right, yeah.
I think we should do that. Sega Bro, James mentioned during his Sonic Till I Die stream that speed is not what makes a good Sonic game, but rather the high-quality platforming of the Chemical Zone. Please elaborate for those of us who are silly enough to believe Sonic when he said, "Gotta go fast."
Well, this is true, and it's really obvious to anybody that's played any of these games. It's
blind.
No, it's
such an arrogant prick.
No, it's absolutely true though.
Sega Bro now lying dead on the floor.
Whenever all of the Sonic games where they focused on this idea of like you got to go fast, it's really fast. They were all crap. They were all crap games. The ones that were really good are the ones which had like pretty good, like solid, like platforming in them, where you weren't constantly going really fast, but there was the sense of exploration. You
have never sounded more like the comic book collector guy in the Simpsons.
Thank you.
Like, that was pure. See, the problem with the later iterations of the Sonic.
I mean, he is right though. Like even some of the later games that like have enjoyable going fast bits. That's a technical term. They're barely interactive.
Just on rails.
Name a good what?
Yeah. Because ultimately
James.
you can't have a character going that fast with the sort of the viewing angle you have and actually expect players to react to anything that happens. It's just not doable, is it?
Name what, James? What were you about to ask?
I was going to say name a very good, like as good as Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 3D Sonic game. And
there isn't one that
exactly. But the reason is because they focused all the time with those 3D games also on being fast. Like
Sonic Spinball was alright.
Like it was
Sonic R was good.
No, it wasn't.
Why
do you
always
bring Sonic R into this, man?
I always do.
No, I used to like Sonic R because I was thinking this is as good as Mario Kart. It wasn't.
I never thought that, but I did enjoy it.
We chose the wrong side, Matt.
No, we chose the wrong fucking side. Stop saying that, David.
But we did, though.
Stop denying it. It's not about who sold the most. It's about the memories.
Right?
My Worldwide Soccer
angry memories
was a great game.
All my mates were playing Mario, and I was playing fucking Sonic.
We were playing steep slope sliders on the Saturn. That was good.
They were playing Snowboard Kids.
That Snowboard Kids. That was good, yeah. Right, we're going with Dave Hodgkins. All right, lads, great show last week and another brilliant guest. Guilty. I ended that guilty.
You weren't the guest, Matt.
Well, licensed by, carried out by. Regarding James and his love of deck building roguelikes, I think there is something to be said for trying a new genre that doesn't initially appear to excite. A few years ago, I begrudgingly played SteamWorld Quest on recommendation, having never been interested in deck builders. I really enjoyed it. I then went on to play Slay the Spire, which has since become a personal all-timer. A perfect slow-paced game for relaxing with some music/podcast, and it's addictive as hell. I remember back in the Joypod days when Dave Dave would bemoan any mention of Dark Souls, and then he tried it.
Yep.
Sometimes stepping outside of your comfort zone can yield surprising results. Easier said than done when there are a million games to play and limited time. I get that. P.S. Loved Bike with a Spike. Very napalm death by the way of shellac. Shabba.
It's
great
a
review.
good point.
Far too much credit, but thank you.
Get it in enemy.
Me and Dark Souls, me and Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Remember that,
was
James?
a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember
That was a thing. Yeah.
Here's a question.
Come on, mate.
Would Inscription work as a stream or not?
Yes, 100%. Everyone loves Inscription, don't they?
They do, but then there might be bits that are a bit dry, just in terms of like you are just playing the card game.
But people love that. They love card games.
I think it wouldn't be as good because you'll be trying to entertain in a game that is quite slow, but it's about kind of slow exploration. I don't know. I think
not very entertaining.
I think if you can sort of unplug from the chat a bit and just sort of get in the atmosphere, because it's quite... I mean, you know me, I can't play scary stuff, but it's quite unnerving and quite grim. But it's like, it's so well done. So yeah, I think if you...
Just play Inscription, James. It sounds like you'd like it anyway.
Yeah, man. Do it.
Yeah, I know that you like it, but maybe like...
And he's going to come back and he's going to go, oh, no, they're all amazing now. And then for the next year, we're just going to have...
in a year's time, he'd be like, have you heard of this Slay the Spire? It's new, I think.
I'm not playing anything unless it involves cards.
Yeah. I love Rummy now.
Is that it for the feedback, Matt?
Feedback, yeah. Go to tcgs.co/deartcgs to leave your feedback.
Right. We have got so much news and so many games to talk about. Let's get going, James. No fucking about this week, all right?
Okay, so, I mean, first of all, some Microsoft executives have been called out for verbal abuse and sexual harassment in a new report. So this is from Windows Central, and they reported that its Alex Kipman, Terry Myson, and Tom Keane have been accused of like creating a toxic workplace environment during their time with the company. Kipman he's the one who's in charge of Microsoft's like metaverse stuff, and he was reported to have watched inappropriate footage via a VR headset, which was then projected onto an external screen while in a room full of colleagues. And according to Eurogamer, an employee went on to describe this as being like VR porn, and said that there was people were just really confused and upset by this. And a lot of people complained, saying it made them feel very uncomfortable. I mean, the whole
no shit. That's so fucking weird, though, isn't it? Like, who sits in a room full of people that you work with and go, look at this? I'll never get it.
Someone who's is trying to be funny or thinking they're risque or edgy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's more, but I don't want to read it all because it's horrible. And if you can read it on Eurogamer, they've got they list everything there, all the accusations that there are. But Microsoft have made a statement now. They said every reported claim we receive is investigated, and for every claim found substantiated, there is clear action taken. This disciplinary action can range from termination to demotion, loss of pay or bonus, official reprimand, mandatory training, coaching, or combination of some of these. And so that was their response.
I mean, that's a good response, don't get me wrong, but let's see it.
Yeah.
I hope action is taken.
Yeah,
that's just fucking weird, man.
Yeah,
it's a shame because, as I've said, like previously, when there's been controversy in other studios, I was saying, reportedly, Microsoft has very good retention compared to a lot of tech companies. So yeah, it is disappointing to say the least.
I mean, and it's as James always points out, a company is a company. There's always going to be cover-ups. There's always going to be, how do we get out of this one? That's a good statement, but you don't look at that statement and go, oh, well done, Microsoft. You look at that statement and go, okay, so your PR team's done well there.
Yeah.
Let's see if you're actually going to take action.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, in better news, Phil Spencer has said that Raven Software's unionisation will still be recognised after the merger with Activision Blizzard is complete.
Cool.
And so he said, once the deal closes, we would absolutely support employees' organisation that's in place. We think it is a right of employees and something that can be part of a relationship between a company and people who work at the company. So that's good, I guess.
That's
great news. They would. I don't think they were never going to make a comment saying, yeah, fuck this union.
Activision Blizzard do.
They make various comments about that.
But yeah, that is reassuring because obviously, Raven have been fighting for this for a long time.
Again, this is something a bit like with the other one where we have to see how this pans out as well, because Microsoft also in the past have not union busting, but they're not very friendly to unions either. As most of these companies are. So to see how it
I guess at this stage
out.
It's easy to say this. It's just what happens when it actually gets over the line. But no, at least it's positive so far.
Okay.
Now the next story is really weird and confusing.
Right, can I just say up front, I don't know anything about this news story. I see you post several links in the WhatsApp group today and then say what the fuck is going on. So I'm completely out of the loop in this. Can you try and talk me through what's happened today?
Okay, David, do you remember that Microsoft was supposed to be working on like this dongle thing that you could plug in and then you could play Xbox games or whatever, either by remote play or by... Right. So anyway, GamesIndustry.biz had an article that was sourced from Windows Central saying that Microsoft have shelved this streaming device. Like that this is not happening now.
They're not going to do it anymore.
That's the headline, okay?
Right.
But then the quote says, "We have made the decision to pivot away from the current iteration of the Keystone device. We will take our learnings and refocus our efforts on an approach that will allow us to deliver Xbox cloud gaming to more players around the world in the future."
Okay.
So you got that on the one hand, but then what's
Keystone being like the code name for this device?
Yeah. Also, who's the quote from?
That's from Microsoft, like directly from Microsoft.
So Microsoft have said we're moving away from this thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And they've said that they're going to learn from what they've got from this, and that they're going to do it in a different way. To me, this sounds more like they're going to focus on apps for smart TVs instead.
Yeah, but the way I read that is like the current iteration of the Keystone device. Current iteration of the device to me says that they're changing what the device is, or maybe they're going from small, very cheap USB thing to a port.
But then why even come out with this then?
Well, because of this report. So this Windows Central report had it's a big old report. James will cover that in a minute. There's people have found code referring to Keystone. So I guess Microsoft wanted to get ahead of it and kind of confirm that there is what they're calling Keystone device. And then all these other stories have come out as a result of that.
Well, then but then this says they're not doing this device now. But then it's really weird because if you Google it, this is the thing that I put in the group. You Google it for news for Microsoft Keystone, and 3 stories come up. The first one says Microsoft shelves Keystone Xbox streaming device. The second one says Microsoft Keystone cloud gaming dongle in the works, and then the third one says Microsoft launches Keystone device for Xbox cloud platform. So I have no idea what is going on with this. That's what this other one's saying. It's saying that they're launching it. It's very strange.
Hold on. What are the articles from?
Okay, so the first one's GamesIndustry.biz. So they're the ones that said that they're shelving the Keystone.
It. Yeah.
Gizmo China says that they're that this is in the works. And I mean the last one probably not. Win Buzzer says.
Right, okay. You're a fucking idiot. Okay, mate. Okay.
But all of these stories,
this story here, GamesIndustry.biz has a quote from Microsoft, and you're going, but this one.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that there seems to be general confusion about this. Because also,
from you.
No, it's not. So Matt's confused as well. It's not just me.
Matt's always confused.
No, right. So all the stories stem from one report from Windows Central. They call it exclusive, and their headline is Microsoft continues to iterate on an Xbox cloud streaming device codenamed Keystone. So this was a report that came out. Other people reported on that, and everyone took the same quotes from it, except the Windows Central one is all about they're iterating on a new version of the device, and others saying they're shelving it.
It doesn't say new version of the device though.
No. I mean, they're saying they're iterating on the device, and iterating means new. And so that's how I read that quote. Iterating on the device to me says iterating on the device. Making another device.
And this is what I'm saying. So you've got so then you've got GamesIndustry.biz saying they're shelving this Xbox streaming device. You go on The Verge. The Verge just say Microsoft confirms work on Keystone Xbox game streaming dongle. So that makes it sound like it is actually happening. But then with same.
When was that dated?
That was about 2 days ago.
Right.
But they say they're iterating on the device, therefore they're continuing to work on the device. Is that not what it means?
The exact quote says we're pivoting away from the current iteration of the Keystone device, not that we're iterating on that device.
So this is why, to me...
There's a pivot
no. It says we're pivoting away from the current iteration. Yeah, so who knows, yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking, right? Okay, the cynic in me says they're about to announce this thing and they're muddying the water building up to it, so it's not... That would be...
do that, though? Who cares?
Because, why would they do that, I guess? Maybe because they're worried that rumours will start coming out strongly the closer they get to the announcement. So if you flood the news with just really conflicting information, then... Although it's hardly flooding the news, is it?
I don't think anyone cares.
GamesIndustry.biz has got an article, The Verge has got an article, and the Buzz... What was it called? The Buzzer?
Win Buzz.
Which genuinely sounds like some sort of media plan that they tried to release in the 90s.
When they say, like, oh yeah, we're pivoting away from the current iteration, is this like, you know, when YouTube channels do that thing where they're like, this is my last video, and then you watch it and they're like, from this studio we're moving to a new building or whatever.
Yeah,
I think it's like that. I mean, like, yeah, we've moved away from the current iteration, we've drawn a different logo on it. That's a new iteration.
An ASMR chiropractor, Sean, that released a video that said, this is my last video.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end of the video and he goes, I know I said this is my last video, it's not. And I was like, whoa, you've not even tried to be clever with it.
I mean, unfortunately, it works, and that's why they do it, but yeah.
Yeah,
I seriously think that they're just going to focus on apps anyway for smart TVs instead. Maybe they also couldn't decide whether to bundle a controller with the dongle or not, and that's why they just decided just to bin the whole thing. They were just like, forget it.
I was saying to James, what's going to happen is we've just talked about a story where there's various reports, one saying it's out, one saying they're shelving it. I'm like, James, it's going to be on sale on Tuesday. I guarantee it, day after the pod. But here we go, everyone. For fuck's sake!
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Happen. Okay, next story is that PlayStation Plus has launched in Asia, but it doesn't have many games.
Well, let's get this absolutely right, James.
700 games, right? That's not enough, is it?
Let's get this completely right, because
I know that there's a listener out there that's itching to write a bit of feedback on this.
Listeners, we're going to get absolutely done in now.
Well,
listeners? What, we got more than one about that stuff?
There's a few emails. Yeah.
Okay.
We have some correspondence.
Yeah, but was it like all different? Like, was it all sent?
I thought there was someone on
Twitter. 5 minutes.
There was someone on Twitter, and then there was someone on the feedback form. I thought it was the same person. It may not have been.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's the same person. Right, go on.
So anyway, of the list of games that have been provided by PlayStation, like for Asia, like this is for the Hong Kong region, and other areas. The list is currently 269 titles. So this is
that bad or good?
Well,
that's good, isn't it?
It's quite a lot less than the 700 that they were saying at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
oh right, okay.
I mean, obviously, you see, the thing with this is that
like 500 less than it.
This is missing the PS3 streaming games though, because they don't have those. But I mean, I don't think they're going to make up the missing 500, are they? You know, they're going to have like 500 PS3 streaming games. But
okay, this is all dull. What's going on?
So Sony have responded and said more titles will be added soon, along with the list of catalogue games available in each country and region as PlayStation Plus rolls out. So the point of this story is that this is what we said. Like when we first talked about, we didn't report it. We first commented on this like a week or so ago. Like where we said that the thing with this is that the list that was provided wasn't that great and wasn't very impressive, and it's turned out that was the list, and it isn't that great. I mean, obviously they're going to add more stuff later, but the launch stuff is pretty disappointing, I would still say. And
wait, hold on, I'm confused. Right, so this news story is about what games are on this service in Asia.
Yes.
But we're saying it's just as bad over here? What are you saying?
We don't know yet for certain what it's going to launch with over here yet. Like, we don't know that for certain. But I still think it's rather unlikely that they're going to launch with 700 games when Asia's only got 269.
Right, okay. I thought that the news story was that Asia were getting a significantly less amount of games than we were.
No,
but what you're saying is that actually that's going to be representative of how many games we get over here.
Almost certainly, yes. And especially,
Gotcha,
I mean, the other thing that's happened with this as well is that people have not been happy with the emulation that's going on because they've been putting out like PAL versions of like PlayStation games and stuff.
No one likes PAL versions.
Instead
not even
of
people that grew up on PAL versions like PAL versions. It's terrible.
No, but they do perform worse. I mean, in generally, but I mean,
I know that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. The PAL versions are the shittest, notoriously the shittest versions of games, aren't they?
But the speculation is the reason they've chosen those is because those versions came out later than most of the other ones. They released the PAL one because it's usually the one that's had the most fixes and things that have been done to it. Right, but it still runs terribly. It's the problem because it's a PAL version. It's not great.
Yep.
So there we go. But then also the other thing that happened is that people who had stacked their subscriptions, like before this, will build the difference when upgrading.
What do you mean to build the difference? Like what they got? The money was just taken.
I don't know if it was taken, but they received an email saying that they would be billed the difference. For it. So it'd be a bit like like when we did like the £1 thing with like Game Pass, and like people were stacking like several years of stuff. And then Microsoft just emailed and say, "Yeah, you're going to have to pay for that." It's
you owe us £400.
Yeah, so the thing at the time, and there has been an update to this story, but basically they would log in and it'll say for every year you had to basically pay the difference. So you couldn't say, well, okay, well I know I've got like 4 years of plus, but I just want to do a year. If you had stacked 7 or 10 years of plus, you would have to then at that point pay for the 7 or 10 years difference there and then. Otherwise, you couldn't access the service.
which is quite a lot. I mean, that's quite a lot of money, like probably from that. And then so Sony responded, and they just said, due to a technical error, players in Asia who had previously purchased the PlayStation Plus membership at a discount have been incorrectly charged for their upgrade pricing. This error has been fixed, and impacted players will receive a credit. A credit?
A credit, not a refund.
That's not good.
Yeah.
A refund?
We thank you for your patience. I mean, it's like the please understand stuff, isn't it? But it's like... I mean, yeah, receiving credit is terrible.
That is really shit.
I tell you what, I feel sorry for Sony then, because if they accidentally build the specific charge of an upgrade by accident, that they didn't mean to do that, what an awful accident.
Oh, it's such a shame, isn't it?
Misunderstanding.
Definitely an accident, not them testing the waters to say, oh no, how quick people are kicking off. It was an accident, it was an error. It was definitely an error.
Whoops, we've accidentally done something that really benefits us.
A specific amount of money for the difference in price. Like, how is that an accident ever?
Yeah. It was a checkbox in the CMS. They're like, why did you check that? I told you to do that.
Okay,
but it's okay because it's not actually a thing, and now they've since fixed it. So,
but they've not, have they? Like you say, like giving people credit rather than just reimbursing them. Like that's really shit.
Yeah, but they're terrible at reimbursing for like anything.
Yeah, they hate giving money back.
They really do. Yeah, it's like.
Do you remember that a few years ago? The big controversy about Sony and what they would do. Like, even if your account got hacked, they wouldn't give you the money back.
Oh, that's right.
It's because of that I took off all payment methods on my account.
It's a pain, but having to type it in every time. But it's just
fine with that.
Not having
not as bad as getting your card hacked and.
Yeah, what was it? They not only did they not give you the money back, they locked your account.
Yeah,
Jesus.
They just locked your account with all your games and just went, all right, you don't get to use your account anymore.
Fucking brilliant.
It was mad. Absolute madness. Okay.
They're not in a great place at the moment with all this stuff. It's just, it's like, it's unforced error after unforced error.
They're ahead.
It's just,
They're winning.
Yeah. I know.
They're doing it
but they don't care. They've gotten away with charging £70 for fucking games.
So the next, so this is like a staggered release, and the next one is Japan on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what
all eyes on Japan.
What errors turns up. It's like, why is there 2 games on the service?
No, it's right. There'll be like there's 275 games for Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so there was that, and then the next thing that happened is they've also had an investor meeting. This is Sony, and they've said that 50% of their game releases are also going to come to PC and mobile by 2025. and they're expecting to make 300 million on PC games alone in this fiscal year, like ending
nearly
March next year.
50% of their game launches to be PC
right,
and
so mobile.
When they say PlayStation expects, they mean PlayStation Studio own games, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not many games, right?
No, but this is huge. The fact they are now saying, okay, our releases will be out in the next few years. I mean, a few years ago, like, be unheard of, and they'll keep it to PlayStation and sell the consoles. Now, PC players are getting the kind of the big console releases. I mean, only I don't know what the kind of timeline generally is between a game coming out on PlayStation and then coming out on PC, but this I think it's good anyway. This getting out on PC regardless.
The intention is going to be, I think, that becomes much shorter and that games come out quicker on PC. I mean, like Horizon Zero Dawn did pretty good. They sold like 2.4 million copies of that on PC, which I imagine is not bad. And and next is Uncharted. They're doing Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy as like a double pack or whatever.
Okay. I mean, I suppose this is the thing. Like, are they going to start actually, I know it's cool that they're bringing these games to PC, but when are they going to actually release something on PS5 and PC on the same day?
I can't see them. I mean, even do Microsoft? Oh, they do that with Flight Simulator and stuff.
Yeah, Microsoft, everything's. Yeah,
I can't see Sony ever doing that.
Did Halo Infinite come out on PC at the same time?
Yeah,
as on Xbox.
Yep, I think so. Yeah.
I can't see Sony ever doing that, but who knows? I mean, maybe if they see there's a benefit.
But also, because the thing with Microsoft as well is obviously with the whole Play Anywhere thing. Like, okay, it's basically just first party titles, but yeah, so with Sea of Thieves, for example, I mostly play on the Xbox, but when I do the streams, I play the PC version, and they're completely interchangeable, and I'm playing with people who are playing the Xbox version, and it's just there's no distinction between the two. So yeah, that stuff's amazing.
I didn't realise you're doing cross-platform stuff. Yeah, that seems to work seamlessly.
Yeah. The other part of this I find interesting though is saying that it's PC and mobile by 2025. What does that mean? Like, what do they mean by mobile?
Because they can't be the same games, right? I mean, I know.
No.
I mean, I say that obviously, Fortnite and COD, etc., do just fine on mobile. I can't stand playing those things with touchscreen controls, but people manage. So on the one hand, I'm sort of looking at it, being like, "Well, you'd never fucking put Uncharted on a phone," but actually, could you? Eventually, I don't know.
I think you could with things like Razer Kishi and Backbone. I mean, they're becoming more common. I can see them things working well.
Or does this mean that we're going to get another rash of like Sony free-to-play mobile games that are suddenly going to appear?
That's probably more likely, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, the PC thing is interesting because on the one hand, I mean, I guess they're realizing that it doesn't really cannibalize their, console sales. But then also, I mean, this is completely anecdotal. I don't know if this was a widespread thing, but for years, Microsoft would do conferences, during the whole sort of Xbox One era, and every time I would watch one and be like, that was really good, but it still hasn't sold me an Xbox because everything's going to PC and I've got a PC and I'm fine. Cut forward to now, I have got an Xbox. Like, it worked eventually. It pulled me into the fucking ecosystem, and here I am. So, it maybe that is a thing long term. I don't know.
And they really tried. Microsoft did with all that for such a long time. Like, you remember games for Windows and all that. When they tried all that stuff, they tried to doing it.
Yeah, it was a great podcast. But yeah, I mean, what's going to be great is to see some of the best looking PS5 games like Forbidden West, and I guess also Last of Us Part 2. Obviously, that was a PS4 game, but to see what they look like on PC will be really good to see if they look as good as. I mean, Forbidden West looks incredible. Will that look even better on like a really super high-spec PC? It's going to be pretty cool to see that stuff.
What do they release these on, though? Are they over Steam? Or are they
I think so,
Game Store? Or what?
I think there's... no, sorry, yeah. I think there's... So some stuff Steam, like surely. Death Stranding is Epic.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And Ghostwire Tokyo is as well. But
actually, it would make sense if it was Epic because they bought all those shares in them, didn't they?
Oh, that's true.
Like recently, so yeah. Anyway, this is boring. The PSVR 2 is going to have 20 games at launch, apparently. And they're going to be first and third party games. Do you want to hear a quote from Jim Ryan that made me feel a bit sick?
Go on.
Not another one. His last one was a disaster. Yeah.
So he says, right now, there is a considerable amount of money being spent on partnerships with independent and other third-party developers to secure a considerable pipeline of attractive VR content at the launch of the PlayStation VR 2. This is where I did a little sick in my mouth. that energy, that effort, and that money will continue to grow as the installed base of PlayStation VR 2 headsets grows also.
Fuck you, Jim. No one wants to buy your shitty headset. We bought the last one and no one uses it because it's a fucking pain in the arse to use now. No one wants to buy it. Fuck you, Jim.
Oh, I'm not quite interested, but anyway.
Are you really, James?
Yeah, why not? This is like brand new, VR tech. Of course it's interesting. Why would it not be?
It is. And I've said this before. I just don't know if it just. I can't go back to having a wire in my VR headset. I can't. I'm not doing that. I don't care how good it is.
See, as I said, that if it's one cable that I just have to plug into my PS5, that does not bother me at all.
Yeah, it really is going to be like 350, 400 quid.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the bigger problem. But anyway, the first launch game for the headset is a Horizon spin-off, which is Horizon Call of the Mountain. So presumably a climbing kind of thing, I guess. I don't know.
What? Horizon what?
Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Yeah, we've already seen this.
Call of the Mountain. Yeah. This sounds like a James Farley title, doesn't it?
It does a bit.
Call of the Mountain. That is James Farley come up with that bad boy. Is there a new Astro Bot? That's the question.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? I'd rather that over a Horizon game, honestly.
That's true.
They're doing those
We're going to try and bring back
Sackboy.
I
was just looking for that's not in the news, but yeah, they're doing a whole raft of...
I know, because who cares? And it's just like, I don't know why they're doing this. I know why they're doing this, but they're not going to be good. And it's like, I don't understand.
Well, no, if they get something like HBO and stuff to do it, then it may be good. I mean, we haven't seen Last of Us 2.
Just get HBO to do it then. Is that how it works?
I mean, obviously we haven't seen the Last of Us TV show yet, but you've got to be confident with HBO behind it.
Isn't aren't they all over the place? Isn't there some Netflix, some Amazon, some HBO? And, I try to be less cynical about these things now because Castlevania, it's fucking brilliant. Yeah. But then that works because it's not trying to sort of tell the story of the games, to the letter. It just sort of takes inspiration from the whole sort of lore in general, and does its own thing with it. Whereas I don't know if you'd get away with that with Horizon, for example, or I don't know.
It doesn't. See, that's the thing. Castlevania didn't feel like it was trying to build like an entire metaverse or whatever of stuff. It was just a good. It was just a really good TV series.
Yeah,
right?
and there were nods to people who played the games. There'd be like portraits of characters you'd recognise, or like music taken from the games and stuff, which was really cool. But doesn't I sat and watched all of that with my wife, and she fucking loved it. She never touched a Castlevania game. It's just really good.
I have to think about the first Sonic movie when we sat down in the cinema and it opened with loads of different images of Sega publications, and it was like the Sega Media portfolio or whatever. And I was like, this is the one film, Sega. One film. Just take it easy.
Let's see how this one goes.
Calm down. Let's get another couple out first before you start acting like you've got all this property.
Yeah. I'm just interested to know what the Gran Turismo movie is going to look like with Neil Blomkamp behind it.
Yeah, what the fuck? Because when I saw this announcement, I was like, I was thinking, haha, someone should do like a jokey announcement that Microsoft are making a Forza film, and then it's like, oh no, Gran Turismo is part of this.
If you could go to the CAF, go pick a menu, go for a couple of races. Could you imagine if it was like the complete anti-Fast and Furious, where like everyone's just really nice to each other?
Yeah,
they all they do their races, they meet in the cafe afterwards and discuss what cars they have.
But
one of them goes to driving school.
I just hope it opens with a video of the Titanic.
Joe, I'd love it if it was people talking about impossibly expensive cars, but with no actual car knowledge. So they're just like, oh, this is nice, isn't it? Yeah, oh yeah, look at that.
That's a red one.
That's lovely, that. Oh, look how shiny it is. One. That's amazing.
Has it got a dab?
How fast does it go? How fast does it go? 120? No way. Oh, that's amazing.
Wow. Here's a list of all the things that Sony have greenlit. Horizon Zero Dawn TV series on Netflix. God of War show for Amazon.
Right.
Yeah. There's obviously Last of Us for HBO. Mm-hmm. There's the Gran Turismo movie with Neil Blomkamp, a Twisted Metal TV series, and the Ghost of Tsushima movie. So they are really going all out, aren't they?
The Ghost is, I'd be up for the Ghost of Tsushima movie. A Twisted Metal show, I don't really know. That's going to work. I mean, those games
maybe
were
they
always
could just make that
the thing that bothers me
that with the Gran Turismo one.
The most about the Horizon one is that That game had nice combat and looked amazing, but it had the worst narrative and all that kind of thing, and it was dreadful, and I couldn't care less. Building something out of that, I just don't understand why you'd want to do that.
I could see that. The world, they could not follow Aloy's story. I was going to say, does it? The world's incredible.
I was going to say, not
the story behind it is really interesting.
I was going to say, not knowing enough about the games, would you want it to follow Aloy's story or do its own thing?
It would have to. It would have to have Aloy. No,
just set it in the world. The concept and the world building is pretty good. The fucking story they churned out. Well, that's not fair. See, I barely got into it.
I could see this ending up being you probably don't. Have you heard of C on Apple TV?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that only
you watch everything
with Jason
on
Momoa?
Apple TV?
Is that one?
It's that one. Yes.
I have heard of it. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what this reminds me of. Probably what it's going to be like because that has similar ideas.
As a reference for the 4 people that have seen C.
I guess. I haven't seen it, but the Uncharted movie did well and seemed to review well. So I guess they're like, solid, everything, let's go.
Before them, wasn't it? I thought it was Sonic was the first one that people
in terms of Sony properties, in
terms of Sony ones.
I know why they're doing this, but again, I hate saying this, but this feels like Don Matrick era Xbox One again. We've got
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we've got to cross-media all this stuff. Where's the Halo TV show? I mean, that did come out eventually. But do you know what I mean? It's like everything we've got to have.
We haven't really talked
the
about...
Uncharted movie did do well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, but
120 million budget, and it took 400 million at the box office.
Oh, Christ, it did that well. But no, we haven't talked about the Halo TV show, have we?
Have any of us seen it?
I've seen some of it.
Yeah, right. Have you seen the bit where Master Chief has sex?
No, I tapped out before that point.
Now he's
that's
all...
the talk's over for next week.
I was going to say, now he's all prudish about sexual content.
Do you know, the problem I had with that series was, that I found difficult to get past, was the guy who's Master Chief is Nick from The Wire. And I just couldn't get past that the whole time.
I couldn't get past the fact that I had to crowbar in sound effects from the game. It's it doesn't fit. You don't need to try and put the sound effects in to go, look, he's looking through the scope and it makes that sound that the scope makes in Halo. Yeah. Doesn't need to, though, does it?
No.
Doesn't need to.
And yet, on the other hand, you've got people going, they're showing his face. You can't do that. It's like, yeah, you can. It's made up, mate. It's all made up. You can do what you want.
I wasn't interested at all, and then I heard you saw his bomb, and I'm like, maybe I will watch it.
Sign me up.
Maybe I will watch it.
Okay.
Let's move on because there's a PlayStation State of Play happening on the 2nd of June.
Ooh.
And not much to say
but we need to not get excited, don't we?
It's
11... can I just ask you something, Matt? You can get this, James. Hold on. Wait, Matt, so what has been confirmed? Is this around the period of the other ones that we're talking about as well?
No.
This is 5 days before all the other ones.
Right, so this is on the 2nd.
Yeah, Thursday the 2nd.
So we're saying the 7th of June, that's when the Microsoft one is it?
No, the first one is the following Thursday, which is the Jeff Keighley thing, and then that's when E3 starts.
Okay, so it's starting. It's not E3 though, is it? It's not E3.
It's E3 week.
It's not because they've cancelled E3 this year.
Are you saying no? Everyone's going to refer to it as E3 just because it's E3 week. So
okay, but we're not doing an E3 show, right? We're not doing it as an E3 show.
I doubt.
I think it's not. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be enough to work with.
I don't want to do a half-assed version of what we usually do at E3.
Exactly.
See, all we've got for certain at the moment is Jeff Keighley and Xbox.
9th. And
that's all we've got.
What depressing is that?
Yeah.
How sad is that? They haven't even got EA to come out and just make a show of themselves again. It's so disappointing.
I hope Nintendo confirm next week because it was. Yeah, I checked and last time they didn't confirm anything until 12 days before E3 season. So I hope we see something from them.
When are we going to call this though? As being am I not watching stuff?
I think I already have.
Okay, so I don't have to not watch stuff this year then.
I don't think so. but we'll see.
Yeah, basically, David's attitude last year killed it, and that's probably the last E3 ever.
James, Matt, stop trying to force it. It's fine. We can just have 1 year off, and then hopefully next year it'll be good.
Yeah. I will say one thing about this state of play specifically. When the fact is a state of play and not one of them showcases, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
because when they had the showcase before, it's like all the black graphics, and it's like, and that's when they had like the real big guns. And if they were really gonna kill it in
emphasis on third parties in this.
This is what they've got. It's 30 minutes long, and they've said we'll have some exciting reveals from our third-party partners, plus a sneak peek at several games in development for PlayStation VR 2. So that's it.
Several. What's that? What do you reckon? 2?
No, several's got to be free at least, right?
Think so, wouldn't you?
So this is this Thursday. Are we going to do a talk over?
I mean, we have to, right?
If we're on,
I was saying in the WhatsApp group, I think we need to find like a way of artificially injecting some fun into it, but we'll see. I don't know.
I'll just let things.
James will bring his porno collection.
Yeah, so this is 11 p.m. on Thursday, so it's quite a late one. But yeah, we'll do a talk over. We'll be live from 10 to 11.
Am I going to be around?
Well, this Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday, the 2nd of June.
Oh mate.
No, I don't. I can't do that because I've got something I've got to do on Friday really early in the morning. So I'm not doing that.
Matt,
James, there's exciting third-party announcements. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, no, sorry.
Matt, there's a good chance that I'll be joining you for that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because I might be out, but I don't know.
Even if it's just me and you, Matt, let's do
it.
Do it.
Okay, well, let's do a talk over. It'll turn out to be the greatest state of play of our lives, David.
Okay, the pressure. God, go on.
Well, let's do a peek at several games in development for PSVR 2. So
of our lives, though.
Like lives.
Hang on, wait, Matt. Are you showcasing a game on this? Is that why you? No, it's going to be good.
Like I said,
really good. Everyone should watch it.
Greatest presentation of our generation.
What if Matt's on it? Oh God!
Like I said, greatest presentation.
All right.
Okay, next story is that Sega have a new project to share with us next week. This is apparently going to be revealed on the...
How many times have we been through this?
I know. But this is also quite funny because this is on the 3rd of June at 12 p.m, like UK time. So the tweet announcing it also came with a picture of a terrible...
God! Did you see that picture?
I know.
Wait, where's the picture?
Oh my... What the fucking... I know what it is, but...
It's a cake, but in the shape of a Mega Drive controller, but it looks awful.
Sort of, yeah.
Just about.
Let me see.
Looks a bit like
that looks dreadful.
Turd that someone spit on.
That's intentional, though, right?
It's got to be.
That's a joke.
But then also, Yusuke Okunari, who works on the retro re-releases, is going to be on this video reveal.
Okay.
So it's probably pretty safe to say this is going to be something to do with more retro releases or something that they're going to do for that. Maybe they've done a Mega Drive Mini though, haven't they?
That's the thing. I saw loads of people saying, mini console, and then I didn't see that picture, but they've done a Mega Drive, so would that not be like a Saturn controller or a Dreamcast controller?
No, yeah, 32X. It's got to be a 32X.
Oh, here we go.
Isn't the thing with
the Tower of Power
Sega mini consoles is they've always just licensed it out. They've never done one themselves. Is that not?
I thought the most recent one was they did themselves, and it was actually good.
Okay,
it was like.
Oh man, do you know what they should do? Virtua Cop for the Switch.
Well, we've got a question about that later.
Really, about Virtua Cop on the Switch?
Not especially, but just about sort of on-rail shooters in VR and stuff.
Oh man,
okay, how convenient.
Cop on the Switch.
It's convenient.
I would like that. Go on.
So yeah, exciting. Are you excited, David, by that?
Absolutely not. I don't give a fuck about Sega anymore. It's so sad. It's done. It's done. We chose the wrong side, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, I love my Saturn, but I have never really cared for these mini consoles, and I don't see I don't think any one of them would possibly make me want to buy one.
Switch, bring Virtua Fighter, Virtual Cop,
all the Virtuas,
all the Virtuas.
Actua Soccer.
So I'm going to say, all the Virtuas, some of the Actuas, get them on.
Yeah. Sega Worldwide Soccer. Just whack it all on Switch. Or wasn't one of my predictions that a bunch of Dreamcast games would come into Game Pass?
You predict that most years.
Which year, David? Choose one.
No, just the once I think I've ever.
Yeah, 1997.
I think just the once I predicted that, mate.
Just the once.
I don't know where you get that from.
I don't think so.
Look at him. He's just coming in with his little snide remark there that just wasn't true.
It's true.
You
predicted that before. It's
never predicted it before.
Okay, you go back and have a look and then prove me wrong.
I will do.
Oh, okay. He loves doing that.
He will actually backfire. He will do it.
So then also, then we've also had just some game announcements. So Star Wars Jedi Survivors coming 2023.
Great. Obviously, we were all looking forward to the sequel to this game.
Officially excited for that.
The moment I saw it, I watched the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, I hated that guy's face.
Yeah, I thought that.
And he's
he's more grown up now.
Is he? He still looks about 12, I thought.
He does.
It's either look more grown up or the graphics have improved, so he looks different.
I'd love it if they just gave him like really bad like bum fluff, like he's trying to grow his first beard.
Yeah, and dreads.
And dreads.
Obviously I had mixed feelings about Fallen Order, but it was their first go at doing like a Metroidvania style thing, so hopefully lessons have been learned and we'll get a refined version of that.
Rough around the edges.
Yeah, I mean everyone just remembers the fact that I was moaning about the crawling through cracks, but I did really enjoy it, and everything Sean just said. So when I saw the trailer, I'm like, here we go. I'm very excited. Hopefully it's shorter. I remember the last one being far too long, rough around the edges. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what they've done to improve this one, because even for the issues that the first one had, I still enjoyed my time with it. So excited.
Also, Knights of the Old Republic 2 is coming to Switch next month, which is
okay.
But it's also got like a whole load of extra content and stuff that wasn't there. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't this because if you never played Knights of the Old Republic 2, it famously shipped with an unfinished ending. Like it was the ending was really abrupt and weird and didn't make a huge amount of sense. And then the boffins in the lab started having a look at it. And there was loads of stuff on the disc that just wasn't used. So like loads of voice, loads of dialogue and stuff.
We just popped the disc in our computers, right? And we just found all the shit. We just found loads of shit in it. Just some shit.
Poo.
And if you put it together, we just put it at the end.
So there was all dialogue samples and stuff that went unused and sort of hinted at a much more elaborate and much more interesting ending. Obviously, if you're playing on PC, it's easy enough to mod that stuff back in. Like that work has already been done. But yeah, this is officially reintegrating that stuff into the game, which is really cool.
Cool.
And then also, Don't Nod are announcing something tomorrow, which was yesterday. If you're listening to this on Wednesday.
That made me cringe, that tweet.
Yeah.
Oh, a little birdie told us, but just tell us that you're announcing something tomorrow.
That's what I said. It sounded
like a little birdie told us that if you look at our fucking Twitter page,
a little birdie
tomorrow,
told us that it won't be Life is Strange, so probably don't worry too much about it.
Well, when I saw that tweet, what was the exact tweet? When I saw it, I was like, is this a reference to like Remember Me or a game I haven't played? And that was like the fans will know. Oh, the birdie. That would mean I wasn't sure if it was like a hint or was it just them being a bit
too much into that.
It was a common phrase, isn't it, man?
Yeah.
Well, no, but it's like I thought I wasn't sure if that was a reference to something in one of the games I haven't played, basically. But
either way, birdie told me that if you come back here tomorrow, who's the birdie? You, twat.
It's me, Birdie.
I don't know. It just made me cringe, that thing. Yeah. All right. Okay.
That's it. That's all I've got. We're done.
Good. That's it for the news. Let's get on to what you've been playing. There's one game that's surprisingly on 3 of our lists, which is really weird. So a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I want to play a short game. And there's been one game that's always been at the back of my mind since I first started reading about it, like when it first came out on PC. And that game is Lego Builder's Journey. Mm-hmm. So I bought it. And I thought, I've got, I just want to play something short, right, to just get through. So I bought it on Xbox. I told James that I'd bought it, which means that he can play it. So I knew James had been playing it. Matt, why have you played this now?
Because James mentioned it before, like the talk server, and I was like, "That's good." And I was like, I might as well buy it and play it so we can talk about it on the show together.
Have you played through it? Have you completed it?
I finished it, yeah.
Let's start with James, because James, this is more of a puzzle game than you usually like, right?
No, this is the kind of puzzle game that I do like, because it's like spatial puzzles basically, which I find interesting. And
yeah, did you like this one?
Very much so. Mostly because the puzzles in this always fell for me on the right side of like when you're like, oh, of course that makes sense, rather than the that's ridiculous, kind of puzzles, which I hate.
So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, it's a Lego game, but it's not a traditional Lego game. It's essentially little puzzles in a sort of, what they call those things? A
diorama?
Diorama,
yeah. A little diorama of Lego. And, simply put, it does make things a little bit more complicated as you go along. But simply put, you need to get a character from one side of the diorama to the next. And you do that by building things out of little pieces of Lego that's scattered about, and moving blocks so that your character can jump onto the next piece, and so on and so forth. The sort of appeal for me instantly was how it looked, because it takes advantage of ray tracing on the higher end consoles and on good PCs and stuff, and all that stuff looks incredible. The bricks themselves, we've seen Lego bricks represented really well in video games for a long time now, but this one, it even had like little scratches in the bricks, and
the sound as well of them.
Yeah, all the sound. It really sort of encapsulates that feeling of what Lego sounds and feels. That sort of tactile look to Lego. Just a quick comment to get out of the way. It's really frustrating to control on Xbox.
That was my only problem with the game.
That's interesting because I played this on the iPad because this was part of Apple Arcade. Which obviously touchscreen controls, and I hated the controls and was wondering if the console version was worth the look.
I think it's made for mouse and
absolutely.
Mouse.
Yeah,
it really feels like that will work well with just picking up, like putting your cursor over one of the bricks, picking it up, dragging it, and letting it go onto where you want it to be. Like, I could see it working really well on PC, and it doesn't get it quite right here.
Yeah, I mean, the controls for me are basically. Sorry.
I was going to say the biggest problem with it is the depth perception for it. Like you can't often figure out where exactly you're sort of clicking on things and stuff.
I didn't have a problem with that.
I found that very irritating.
Did you use the right stick much? Because that helped me a bit.
Yeah, I did that as well. But I found it quite irritating, the controls sometimes, but not to the point where it was making me think, oh, I can't be bothered to play this. It was good enough that you could still get through, but it was clearly for mouse and keyboard design.
You had to fight with it a little bit.
Yeah, I had a couple of depth perception issues, but but for me, the controls are the things that kind of got in the way of me loving this game, because it was just constant. It just felt frustrating. By the end, I got it mostly. I mean, but it was just too annoying. I think controls wise, I reckon PC much better.
Yeah, see, it wasn't so much the controls for me that turned me from, like, I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed my time with it. It's about 3 to 4 hours long, I'd say. Not very long at all, really. But it wasn't that challenging. But there were a few levels where I was like, I'm not actually quite sure what you're asking me to do here, and they're the bits that sort of turn me off it a little bit. There's, the one where the dad is upstairs in the factory and you're downstairs.
Yeah,
and you've got to
I
do
know
something.
exactly what you mean.
There was a bit there where I was kind of like, I don't actually know what you're asking me to do. And then when I finally did it, it took me a few attempts, even though I knew what the solution was.
One of them, I had to look up like a video. I was like, okay, this level looks like every other level. I've got to from one end to the other. It was one basically where the light was flashing on and off, so that was already annoying because like you had to like kind of wait a couple of seconds and whatnot. But I was like, why is it?
We spoke about that, didn't we, James?
Oh, was it? It may be the same one. I was like, what the hell? And then I looked up the solutions. Like, oh no, it's asking you to do something it hasn't asked you to do before. And I was like, I've got to the top of this thing. Why isn't it at the end? Anyway, that kind of annoyed me because I didn't want to have to look up a guide for a simplistic game. Yeah,
you stop that light from flashing, right?
No, I just use the other light to light up the area.
But that's kind of what you pick up, that flashing light.
Yeah.
And then
I
it
picked
turns
up the
into
block,
a solid light.
Yeah,
and then you put it to where you want. Yeah,
I use that to light the area instead. But
incredible.
It's still a bit annoying. But yeah, just like the fact that suddenly I had to do something different and I hadn't twigged, I was like, oh, a bit annoying. But
it was, especially like those areas where it's just like completely dark as well, and it was a bit frustrating until I figured out how you're supposed to control the light, and then it's not so bad. It works
when you control the light, man, it does look stunning. Mm-hmm. Like the reflections off everything, the shadows being cast around as you're moving that light source about. It was like,
it's such a simplistic game, but lighting. There's a real kind of sense of place in these tiny little dioramas, which and like, even like the water, almost like kind of stop motion animation. Using. Yeah, I think that's really nice.
Yeah, really good.
It's just, I just found it very relaxing, honestly, to go through. Like, it was not stressful at all. It was just
music's gorgeous as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like, I'm glad I played it. It wasn't up there. It's not up there as one of the best games I've ever played of that type. but I'm glad I played it because, it's been one of those games. You get those games where you're like, I will play that at some point, and it sits at the back of your head just going, yeah, I do need to go back to that. And then, sometimes I've gone back to them and gone, nah, it's a shame. And sometimes I've stuck with them and seen them through, and this was easy really because it was such a short game anyway, that it was quite nice to just sit and play. So yeah,
what I love about this game as well is that it's a Lego game, but it's like totally unlike any of the atmosphere or personality of a standard Lego property that we might associate, from like the movies to the other traditional kind of Lego games. This is still feels authentically Lego, but it's just completely different. And they're basically when I was playing this, I was like, they could make an indie game like Inside or Limbo, using these kinds of characters, these kind of graphics. I mean, there were some kind of surprisingly tender moments because most of it is what looks like it's a child and a parent trying to reach each other on the same kind of area, or a child getting to the dad, or dad getting to the child. They're surprisingly emotional, some of these, and they can make a full game. I reckon, that.
I'd love to know how it come about. I like, if I was to guess, I haven't read the history, but if I was to guess, I would guess that this game was being made and then they showed it to Lego.
It was
them getting the license.
They were or maybe I can't remember the actual timeline, but so the studio's called Light Brick Studio and was initially formed within Lego and then broke off and went independent. Okay. So I don't know. Yeah, when like in terms of when this originally came out. Like, were they still in house or not? I'm not sure, but yeah,
it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? This first come out, I think. But yeah, I think I paid about £13 for it on CD keys.
Okay,
totally worth it in my book. A nice little adventure to work your way through and then delete when you're done with it, basically.
I'm just reading up. So it looks like basically the idea is they're still doing Lego games. It's just that they've gone independent with an investment from Lego to be able to do non-Lego stuff as well. So this
is sounding more and more like money laundering as we go along.
But yeah, I should give the iPad version another go. Obviously, it doesn't have the RTX shit. Still looks pretty nice. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I need to just play on Apple Arcade and then fucking unsubscribe because that service has been dog shit for a while now, sadly. But
that was another complaint. I wish you could zoom in way more.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I would really love to see more detail.
Each of that in detail, yeah. I was a little bit pissed off that you couldn't zoom in even further, but there you go, whatever. I'll continue with my list. I've been playing Roller Champions.
Oh, how is that? Because I've seen...
Roller Derby game.
I've seen... Well, wasn't it just fucked on launch? That was...
Yeah, apparently. I didn't know this. I was told this last night that it was fucked on launch and no one played it, but it was on like the dashboard on the Xbox yesterday. I was like, free to play, that's fine. It's Ubisoft. It's a roller derby style game.
Is it though?
Because there's a ball involved basically. So it's 3-on-3 online. The idea is your team has to carry the ball around a lap of a circuit. If you complete one lap without getting intercepted, you can aim for the goal and try and score a goal. If you do 2 laps, you can get 3 goals for that, doing those 2 laps and then throwing in a goal. And if you do 3 laps, then you throw it in, you've won the game. Like, you get 5 points instantly, and that wins you the game. It's first to 5 points. So the idea is that the ball, it doesn't matter if you're holding the ball or if you're passing the ball from one end to the other. You can skate round in circles, pass the ball around the teammates. If it's going through the gates, it counts. Okay. And then once you hit the final gate, you can throw the ball in the goal. Essentially, right, here's where I sit with this game. I played it and I thought, I'm really enjoying this, and all of the ideas behind it all work, and it's got that risk reward thing, it's got the teamwork thing, it's fun to play, but it's not as fun to play as the likes of Knockout City, and look at what's happened to that. So I sit there and I think, like, I see these unique ideas like Knockout City and Roller Champions and stuff, and honestly I think, what has a company got to do to make the next one of these games? Because I think, and stop me if you think I'm wrong here, but I think it's harder than ever to bring out a new concept for a video game. Like, genuinely, and for it to bang.
It depends, though, doesn't it? I think it's one thing if you're putting out like an indie game that takes 10 hours to finish, but when it's something like this, where it's like, this is an online game, we want you to play it long term, that's when it becomes a much harder sell, isn't it?
It's because there's so much competition for that in that space.
Yeah.
Like, where there's people playing stuff like Rocket League, there's people playing FIFA and stuff like that. Getting into that, and trying to sort of build a.
That's the biggest problem, though, isn't it? It's because we as gamers, we constantly cry out for new ideas, new things. But the more these games fail, the less likely we're going to get innovation like that. You look at what happened to Onrush, right? It come out, flopped, and become a bit of a joke. Knockout City, very, very good game. I mean, I'd like to see, maybe it is doing quite well. I haven't been following how many people have been playing it, but it seems to have gone very quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it for the month or two that I was playing it, but it didn't extend beyond that because none of my mates wanted to play it.
And it's, I mean, this may or may not account for a fair chunk of the player base, but it's leaving Game Pass soon as well, which is a shame.
What, Knockout City?
Yeah.
See,
Really?
I still think
I thought that was going free to play though, wasn't it?
Oh, possibly. Maybe that's why it's leaving Game Pass then.
Maybe that's why it's leaving.
Sense.
Go on. Okay, sorry, carry on, Jay.
But I still think like this whole games as a service thing. This is the This is why I don't think that Sony's strategy is going to work either. Of like just releasing tons of them.
It seems very late now, doesn't it, to try and get on board?
It's just. It's like what happened with World of Warcraft, when that was big, and then everyone was trying to do like an MMO, and there's just not room, for like a recurring subscription, based, games like that. There's not enough people, to sustain loads of different ones of those.
Well, that's it, and the problem is the very concept of games as a service is that you don't play a game for a year and move on anymore. You play a game for a lot longer than that. Rocket League come out 2016, was it?
God,
I'm still playing that every night. Yeah. Every night. Just to confirm, Knockout City is going free to play from the 1st of June.
That makes
sense.
So
that's why it's leaving Game Pass.
But then also, you have to have somebody who's got like deep pockets and a vision to keep something going. Like if you look at Sea of Thieves, like that launched not very well, but then now it is it's doing well. It's got an active, like dedicated player base, but that's only really because Microsoft stuck with it, didn't they? Like they kept it going.
They saw it through.
Yeah.
Similar things happened with Rainbow Six when that launched. It didn't do too well. Rainbow Six Siege, and then all of a sudden, it started making moves about 6 months down the line, didn't it?
Who was Knockout City? Was that EA?
EA. It is EA. I mean, they must still be doing things with it because, as I say, it's switching over to free to play from the 1st of June. It's in its sixth season. It's really good, man, and it is more fun. It's a better game than Roller Champions. Roller Champions, but it's very, very quiet, and I can't see how this takes off. What was the other one? Destruction All Stars.
Yeah,
another one. Okay, that is apparently not very good. I've not played it myself.
No, we weren't a fan of that round.
That's why that
tried
failed,
it.
right?
Yeah, it wasn't
that's
great.
a shame because that looks cool. But,
and then you look at things like Fall Guys, which I'm sure still has an excellent player base, right?
Even more so now, it's going cross-platform and free to play and on Switch and Xbox.
You look what happened when it launched. It was a phenomenon for like 2 months, and then people went back to their usual what they play.
I think Fall Guys still does okay because it's interesting, isn't it? Because you look at something like Fall Guys, the announcement that like, Fall Guys is going free to play and it's coming to these extra formats and platforms rather. And it's like, oh, holy shit, like, this is going to be like a real comeback. Whereas you hear that Knockout City is going free to play and it's like, oh, is this like the last throw of the dice? But to see what happens.
Yeah. Are you likening it to Radical Heights?
Radical Heights.
God, yeah.
I'm just saying that's the overall feeling I got from this game. I was playing it and going, this is really fun. And I've just scored a goal and that's really cool. I've just done a move where they were trying to attempt a second lap, and just before they scored to get 3 points in the second lap, I bundled them over and nicked the ball, and then passed it off to my mate just before I was bundled over. Like, all of that stuff is really good fun, and I was like, we'd probably get a week of really good games out of this,
that'd be it.
And then that would be it.
But isn't it strange though, like you say, like how quiet it's been around it? I was saying the other night, like Riders Republic, another Ubisoft game, has been out for a fair bit, and I know like 3 people who've tried it, and they're like, it's fucking great, and it's like £20 now. Because
I totally forgot that came
exactly
out.
Like it just sort of zero fanfare. I say the few people who've played it seem to love it, but just overall, it's like I don't know, just weird.
I don't think that one presented very well when it was announced. It was like it kind of got a lot of the other sports. It looked like a kind of Forza festival, but didn't have the personality of like a Lonely Mountains Downhill or Descenders.
Plus, like if I see a game where it's like, oh, it's got like 6 different sports in it, my instant assumption is like, yeah, but none of them are going to be as good as a game that is just about one of those sports, right? Which is probably unfair.
Are we talking about Riders Republic here, or are we talking about Switch Sports?
Yeah. Who can possibly say?
Every day that goes past, Sean, I get more and more angry about that game.
I've set the Wii U up again, but I need to sort out some Motion Plus business. Yeah. But it's just strange, isn't it? Like a game that games can come out from a company as big as Ubisoft, and it's just nothing, no traction, nothing.
But it's difficult with Ubisoft because they will show off games, and you're like, you're almost tired from the first 5 seconds of a trailer.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I know what it is instantly.
Yeah.
I want them to break away from their kind of Ubisoft kind of just like do something different because
that's exactly what they're doing here.
Yeah, to be fair,
that's exactly what they're doing here. They're breaking away from the usual Ubisoft stuff, and you haven't played it. This is the thing. It's this thing that winds me up about I want something new. I want like an arcade racer. An arcade racer comes out and no one buys them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the problem. That's the loop we're in at the moment. I want these. Why aren't these companies? Why are they all doing the same thing? Why don't they try something new? Well, they did, and no one bought it. Like that's the problem.
But it's also because they don't buy it in the numbers that they want. Is the problem?
No, bollocks. No bollocks, because they're not buying it in any sort of numbers. That's the thing. It's not that the requirement for an audience is too high. It's that the audience that is there is comparatively terrible.
It is in some cases. I mean, look at Square Enix. Like, they always are like, oh, this didn't meet expectations.
Yeah, but
it
we're
didn't
talking
sell
about
5 million or whatever.
Yeah, but that's a different thing. They applied that to Tomb Raider, which is about as broad and as standard in terms of gameplay and fits in with the type of games that are being sold at that time. What we're saying is that when there's complaints about, let's do something new, I just want something a bit different, and then they go, here we go, this is a bit different, yeah, not that. Like, that's the feeling that we get, and it's kind of like, how often is that got to happen before?
It's because the number of vocal gamers is, like, people that are like that is actually quite a small percentage of the people that actually play games. Is the thing.
Like, the latest version of this is what I think, and I know this is probably like putting it down on things. It's like Skate 4. Like, the amount of years people say we want Skate. That could come out, and I would not be surprised at all if it didn't sell. Yeah.
But
it's like people were desperate for a Mirror's Edge sequel.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And we got that. I'm like,
that's the one.
I mean, they did fuck that though, right? They were like literally everyone was like, do a sequel. All you need to do for the Mirror's Edge sequel, take the guns out. Oh, you're putting more in. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, but I think Skate 4 is actually going to work harder than it could be like a perfectly fine skateboard game, and it won't be enough. Whereas at least Tony Hawk 1 and 2 collection, there was the nostalgia as well, and like the old soundtrack and new soundtrack. Skate 4
never comes out. I wouldn't be surprised if that old skate thing just gets swept under the carpet.
It will come out. I'm wary of what that's going to do.
Like I say, but then I'd accept Skate 4 being like relatively scaled back. I don't need a new skate game to necessarily be like a AAA, £50, 60 or 70 quid game. Like if they were just like, look, we weren't really sure if this was going to sell, so we haven't spent a huge amount of money on it. We've scaled things back where we can, but it feels good. It feels like Skate. It's it's the game that you remember. Maybe if it was just like, set like spots that you can fast travel between rather than here is a whole fucking city. I mean, some of that exploration was part of the joy, but it really, by Skate 3, it really felt like you were just traveling between like the actual skate spots, right? So like I personally, as I say, I would accept that it's a risk, and as you say, I don't think it's going to sell big numbers. So don't spend an absolute fortune on it and then kick off when it doesn't sell 10 million.
It's weird because I mean I didn't really play a lot of Skate. I played like a tiny bit, but I feel like a lot of the love for that game is the fact that you can like record and edit like videos. That kind of happened pre-social media, and now we're very much in social media. It feels like, well, are people really going to do that?
Well, that's it. I mean, I don't want to load up Twitter and see a bunch of videos of someone go, look at my Skate.
I don't know.
It would be
amazing if it properly blew up and that did happen. That would be incredible.
Well, yeah, because I was going to say, so like, Skate 1 to 3 all had, because it's pre-social media, it was pre consoles having like their own sharing functionality, so it had its own like in-game editor, and then you had to upload your videos to like this called Skate Reel, which was like EA's own proprietary online service for uploading and sharing these videos, and people did that even though it was a fucking pain in the arse. So actually, to me, it's like, holy shit, to be able to just do those videos and then bang, it's on Twitter would be amazing. But
I love nothing more if it blows up, but I'm just like wary of all the hype, all the shouting from a local minority, and they're coming out and they're doing what Mirror's Edge 2 did. Yeah. But, hopefully we'll see more E3.
Okay.
Sorry, not E3.
So that's kind of how that's kind of where I ended up with that game. It was like a sort of, this is fine, this is a good time, but it's not going to last, and that's the problem really. So that was that. I also quick mention to Microsoft Flight Sim, simply because it's suddenly hit me. So I was, here's what happened, right? I wanted to play Microsoft Flight Simulator last week, and I booted it up, and I wanted to fly over the den, because I like to do that, right? And I did. I went like that, and the den wasn't there. And I went, what's going on? So I was like, have they removed it from the game? What's going on here? So I Googled it, and there was no sign of it. And then I saw a post was saying, I installed the London pack, but loads of the buildings are missing. And someone said, try uninstalling and reinstalling the London pack. And I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it took ages last time. You've got to do it within the game.
I was going to say, that's the killer, isn't it? Is that you can't just leave it to download like you would anything else.
You can't just leave it to download either. So I was like, I'm not going to do all this. So I just thought, hold on. What if I delete the game, saving me hundreds of gigs on my hard drive, and then play it on the cloud? So I did that, and everything was installed. And I was like, because of course it is. So I did my little bit of flying over London and went, oh my God, there's a reason to play xCloud on my console now. And it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't want this on my hard drive all the time. So I did that. And then I noticed that the Top Gear. Top Gun.
You said that in WhatsApp, and I was going to make a joke, and I was like, no.
Did I say Top Gear?
Yeah, you did. And I was like, he'll do the same typo in 5 minutes. I'll wait for then.
What is it? The Top Gun?
Yes, you know that movie.
Right,
okay. Good of it, yeah.
The movie. I don't know. I've never seen it.
You've never seen Top Gun? You've seen the original, though, yeah?
I've never seen Top Gun, though.
You've seen the original?
No, I've not seen it.
Mate.
Oh, man.
What do you want from me? I've not
seen it. Top Gun.
I want you to watch fucking Top Gun.
I've never seen it either, actually.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Good movie.
So I loaded it up, and it's got like a jet in it, and it's got this weird, what apparently I found out is a Top Gear. It's got a Top Gear plane in it, and it's got this like weird concept plane that's in the film apparently.
The stealth.
It's not a stealth bomber.
Yeah.
No, it's not a real plane. No, it's a concept plane that's in this film that they're using. It's not a real thing.
You telling me it's not a documentary? So
it's not a documentary. No,
Tom Cruise can do anything, Sean.
It's a fake plane in this game, right, and it goes like super fast. So I was just fucking around in that. Like again, but here's the weird thing: I launched the game via the cloud the day that the Top Gun DLC was out. When I launched it, it wasn't installed. So I guess you have to install it on the server that you're running it on.
Right, yeah.
But when you do it, it's like 1.6 gig or whatever, and it literally takes about 4 seconds. Because obviously, whatever these servers, wherever they are, they have got insane internet on. it.
I wonder if it's pulling it internally. Because I'd love to know how this stuff works. Because as you say, is it just that you've accessed an Xbox that, and it just sort of depends what other people have installed on that one previously when they've accessed it, or do they, as standard, just get stuff loaded onto them? But maybe it's not Xboxes. Oh no, it is Xboxes, isn't it? It's not PCs. I think haven't they said everything's like a Series X now?
Yeah, they upgrade everything to X. Yeah.
But that could just be upgrade the settings on the PCs.
True, it's an equivalent.
I guarantee there's not like a load of the actual Xbox Series X's lined up.
No, actually, there are, because they're like blades of that. That's how they do it.
It's like server blades.
Yeah,
I've got to check that. Because
at one point, when they S's or ones, and then they upgraded to...
They're not, it's not like actual consoles, but it's the hardware and everything. Like in a,
I'm sure it's the hardware,
blade,
but what I'm saying is that surely you've got to be able to stream to more than... They haven't got one thing for one person, right?
Well, yeah,
I think so.
But then as you say, it'd be like a big server blade with like X number of
X's.
I don't even know what a server blade is.
Oh, you don't know a server blade? He doesn't know a server blade.
He hasn't seen Top Gun. Doesn't know why is he even on the show? Frankly, I don't get it.
Because I built up a legacy of podcasting and invited you onto my show.
Legacy.
Basically, Microsoft Flight Sim. Yeah, do you remember Morelli? Microsoft Flight Sim is really good fun. Like I just reminded me how brilliant that game is.
It's a really good fun.
They've also got some what they call it? It's near space flight.
Oh yeah,
what do they ever call it? They got some of those missions in there as well, Sean. Which I'm very excited about.
Can you explain a bit more? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
Near space? What? So like just outside the atmosphere, or just in?
I mean, I assume so. That's what it looks like on the little image there that you got to click on and go onto that mission. But yeah, it looks like where you're just at the edge of the atmosphere flying along. So I'm going to go and check that out at some point this week.
A little bit of Phoenix Baumgartner.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
I'm going home now.
I might just go there and then go up to see if I could just go to the moon. fly by
straight to the International Space Station.
Yeah, see what happens. But yeah, that's it from me. That is it from me. Matt, what else have you got on your list?
So I'm still playing Synergia, which is that visual novel, the cyberpunk visual novel about what it means to be human. Still enjoying it massively. The themes are getting bigger and better. In fact, this week I'm gone fully kind of cyberpunk-esque. I've watched like Blade Runner 2049 again. I watched a movie called I Am Mother, which is not cyberpunk, but it's kind of like talks about AI and all that kind of stuff.
Because I've been meaning to watch that, but I wasn't sure if it's something I should prioritize. Is it all right?
It was good. Yeah, it wasn't as good as it could have been, but I wanted something else with those kind of themes of AI and robots and stuff. And now I'm just trying to, I just want to find whatever the best movies, books, TV shows, or whatever it is about that kind of stuff, because I just can't get enough of it right now.
I'm also playing this as well.
Yeah, it's just on your list. Yeah. So how far are you into it, and what do you think so far, James?
I'm not very far into it. You know what you were saying last week about skipping text and all that kind of thing?
Yes.
I can see what you mean. It is a bit annoying, but then I figured out how to do it, and it's because it autoplays, doesn't it, as well?
It does,
but then you can stop it autoplaying, and you can then do it just by pressing a button, which is much better.
I also fixed it when I was playing it this week. I must have double pressed something or whatever, but yeah, I've now fixed it, so it doesn't autoplay, which is a lot better.
There's that, and the other thing with the UI, which is a bit weird, is when you're selecting an option, it's... I'm playing this on Switch. I'm
playing on Xbox, but I think I know what you're going to say.
You know how when you highlight something,
it's actually the duller.
It's not the brightest
color,
one.
Because all the options are kind of bright. So instead of it making it brighter,
it makes
the amount of times
instead.
am I actually selecting that, or am I about to exit? Am I about to load a game? Yeah, it's really weird how the selected item is the duller of the options.
And I made a choice in the game, which is not the choice that I wanted to make, because I was just like, I've pressed the wrong one.
The first choice I made, I was like, I think if I press up, I think that is... Yeah, it was basically a guess because of that weird thing with it not showing you exactly.
But it's odd because Yeah, because you're like pressing up and down. You're like, this doesn't seem to be corresponding with how I'm pressing it. Like you'd assume that whatever is bright is the option to choose, but it's not. It's very strange. But aside from that, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I've only played it probably for about an hour or so, so I don't think I'm very far into it. But the story is certainly interesting. I mean, it's going somewhere. I think I know where it's going, but then I'm hoping I'm going to be wrong, and then it's not going where I think it's going. And but it's definitely intriguing. And as you said last week, the atmosphere is fantastic. Like especially with the music and all that kind of thing. I mean, it's weird because the music in it I find it oddly soothing as well. Like when I'm sort of I was on the train playing it like on the way to work today, and it's just like I nearly fell asleep at a point because I was just like, oh, this is like
I bet listening to that music on
on
the train as well must be very kind of mood setting. Like I can imagine seeing like the building and stuff going past, and you got that music in your ears. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So hang on. So James, I presume you finished Citizen Sleeper then? Yeah, if you're playing this.
No, I haven't played it yet. The reason I haven't played it yet is because I saw that Matt was playing this, and I was interested in it from last week, and you and Matt have already talked about Citizen Sleeper.
Yeah, but
so
we want to talk about it again, James.
I will play it. I swear. After I finish this, I'll play it. It's
You're playing the game that Matt started playing.
Bigged it out too
You're
much.
playing the game that Matt started playing because he was desperately chasing the high of Citizen Sleeper.
Exactly. So then, when I play Citizen Sleeper, it'll be even better.
You're chasing the Synergia high.
Yeah,
no, it's this has got one of those James sitting there going, "Oh, they've bigged it up too much now." That's I play what they're telling me to play. It's got that written all over it.
I don't think so, but I'm looking forward to playing it. I mean, this, as I said, this is enjoyable. I'm really digging like the atmosphere and everything. It's good.
Yeah, and I put like another 2 and a bit hours in. I don't know where I am even in the main story, although something is happening, so I know I'm not that close to the end. But like other developments have happened in the story that's made it even more interesting, and it absolutely builds on the themes that I said I was loving last week. So still really really enjoying that game. But that's basically about it this week.
Nice. Sean.
Hello. I have been playing Hardspace Shipbreaker.
Yes, I want to hear about this.
That's that Shipbreaker. Sorry, that sounded a bit like...
Sounds like you said a naughty word there, Sean.
That was a bit rude, wasn't it? So this has finally hit version 1.0. It's been in early access for a couple of years. I've talked about it on the show before, but it was literally like 2 years ago. So I'll just talk about it.
So, Sean, was it literally 2 years ago?
I think it was.
Oh my god! Okay,
because there's been like a couple of like Game of the Year shows where I've been like, man, I really like this, but I don't want to nominate it now. When A, it's not finished, and B, like half of us can't play it. I mean, still can't. It's still PC only. But I'm hoping now that it's hit 1.0 that console versions are en route.
Yeah, because when I saw it's gone to 1.0, I was like, oh, that's that Sean that's that game that Sean played last year.
That's
that Sean that gameplay.
Sean that gameplay.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing. Yeah.
So this is a game where, so on the face of it, you're in space, obviously, and you have this sort of, floating above Earth. You've got this like shipyard, and your job, as the game, the name of the game implies, is it's your job to break down these like disused ships, right? To get the resources from them. Like that's your job. Like this is a real thing that happens in real life with like boats and stuff. I was not aware. Like when sometimes when like ships get decommissioned, they're just like, right, well just fucking let's see if we can get some of the metal off it then, because there's fucking loads of it, and it's just still worth quite a bit. And yeah, so you're sort of floating around in sort of zero G, and you have like a sort of.
What did you think happened to decommission?
I've honestly no idea. I assume they just fucking...
Massive bin.
Yeah, big bin. Big bin.
Wait, what? Yeah.
Hotel, naughty hotel.
Sail it into
do they not just rust into nothing? They not just disappear?
Then they just set them on fire and they kick them off
sink.
the fucking
They just sink when they're done, don't they?
It's like a Viking burial, but it's just
exactly.
It's just a burning ship.
I mean, to be fair, that is what we do at the end of every Sea of Thieves session.
Good point.
Oh, if they take the bits off it, they can reuse it.
Yeah, so basically, it starts out, obviously the ships are quite small. It's like little shuttles and stuff, like little, what they call station runners and stuff. And, they've like, they're already like depressurized and stuff, so you can float in and around them. Sort of, you're finding these like little like cut points, right? So they're built to be dismantled eventually. So there's certain weaknesses in the structure that you're trying to find, and you have a laser cutter. You're finding these spots, cutting them out, and then be like, right, if I cut these 4 points here, then the roof will come off, and then I can move that out of the way. And then you've essentially got these like giant. So there's one that's like a furnace, which is for your metals and stuff. There's like a processor, which is for nanocarbons. You don't need to know what they are. It tells you whenever you look at something, whether which sort of bin it needs to go into. And then at the very bottom, there's this huge sort of grid where you can throw in sort of like pieces of equipment, right? That's still useful. So things like computers, chairs, lights, stuff like that. And it's all about you just really meticulously taking apart these ships in like a methodical but efficient way, right? You're trying your best to make sure everything goes in the right bin so you get the maximum amount of cash from it. And like that in and of itself is amazing, right? It's such a like chill but occasionally really terrifying experience, because it's really dangerous. But also it just feels great, sort of really meticulously dismantling these ships and sort of figuring out, like looking at the structure of it and working out like logically the best way to do it. And then like as you progress, it'll be like, right, this ship's got an active reactor in it, and as soon as you remove it from its socket, it's unstable, and it's you've got like a certain amount of time before it blows up, and you then need to sort of safely get it into the the big grid below. And then there's like, further in, it's like, well, there's different types of engines, and you need to learn like where the fuel lines are and how to like flush the fuel lines before you start cutting things, or else it will fucking explode. As I mentioned, sort of the early ships are already depressurized, so the later ones aren't. So you'll have a ship where like all the airlocks and stuff are all sealed, right? So the inside of the ship is still pressurized. So if you just start slicing into the hull, it will fucking explode out, because it's like a they call it like a what's the term they use? I can't remember. But like an emergency decompression, basically. So you have to be super careful where you're cutting and making sure, as I say, the bigger ships, you go in through the airlock, and then it's like you've then got to make your way sort of room by room, like checking there's these little terminals where you can like depressurize each room. So stuff like that, and it sounds like boring, right? Like an engineering job that like where you've got to be super careful, or else you might fucking die at any point, and you've got to learn all these sort of technicalities about these ships. But it's fascinating and really satisfying to do. But like that's always been the case, right? For the last 2 years, it's been early access. Like that stuff has always been great. What is really cool now that it's finished is it's got a story. And it's a really interesting one, because it's about the fact that your employer is like fucked, like they're horrible, right? It's like proper, like not dissimilar to Citizen Sleeper, to be honest. It's very much a tale of workers who've like basically signed away their souls to this company just for the sake of like hopefully a decent payday eventually. Like I think the idea is that like Earth is fucked, and it's like an irradiated toxic place to be. So it's like, oh yeah, shit, sign me up for a job up in space, that'll be great. And then literally the first thing that happens to you is they enroll you in the Everwork program, which like it kind of explains what that is, but not really. And it's like, okay, sign here, and you won't ever have to worry about dying ever again. And it's like, all right, how does that work? And it's like, okay, we're gonna harvest your DNA now. P.S. It'll kill you. So you literally, you're like, oh my god, this is absolutely horrible. So literally, you take this job, and the first thing that happens to you is that they kill you and clone you. So you're literally a corporate-owned asset by that point.
Yeah, very similar to...
Yeah.
I was about to say, that's the sit and sleep.
Yeah, so I mean, in this, you're technically still like a flesh and blood human, right? It's just that you're already a copy of your former self. And like, yeah, let's say they call it the Everwork program, and it's like, when it's like, oh, it's process is complete, it's now safe to die. Like, it's all sort of cheery, corporate speak, but around these sort of really horrible practices and subjects and stuff. And as soon as you sign up, it's like you've got this horrendous bill. Like you start work like indebted to the company by like $1.5 billion, right? But it's all like, hey, you can earn it all back, and then once you've paid off your debt, you can go off and do whatever you want in space, and that's the dream that they sell people. But just what I really love about it is that basically it's a story about unionization, and about like some of your colleagues are trying to form a union, and it's about how the conversations that take place, how these things come about, how the company tries to disrupt, tries to bust any attempt at employees forming a union, because they're terrified of it, and obviously, especially current goings on within game development, it's an incredibly relevant and interesting story to tell. And I think what's so cool about it is that it's like, on the one hand, it's making the point that you are being exploited, right? You're salvaging all this stuff, and it's like, hey, yeah, you salvage this chunk of metal, here's 10 grand, and you're like, oh man, that's amazing. But if you fuck up and put that in the wrong bin, you're fined like 30 grand. So you're like, right, so that's the actual value of the piece. I'm only being given like a really shitty cut of everything I'm salvaging, right? And that's before you get into the stuff they literally own your DNA. Like you would never know, but there's nothing to stop them just cloning dozens of you, right? And putting them to work. You would never find out. But so as I say, there's this story of unionization. But what I love about it is that it marries up the sort of the cognitive dissonance between like, I am being exploited, but I do also fundamentally enjoy my work, right? Which is the case for a lot of people. Like, and the reasons that becomes really difficult and interesting when conversations around unionization occur, because there are people who are just like, look, I know I'm being exploited, but I do like my job and I don't want to threaten that. And they're not wrong to think that. But the whole point is that, you should be allowed to enjoy your job and be fairly paid for it and not treated like shit. But you understand why people go a bit sort of protectionist about it and sort of be like, yeah, but I don't want this to be threatened. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, go on, James.
But it's also like the whole idea of the unionization is also about collective action, rather than it's not just your feeling about how you're being exploited, but how by unionizing you're protecting everybody. Together you're working together.
Totally.
With that.
And I just find that really interesting, because when you think of games like Spec Ops: The Line, right, which is like, war is really fucking bad, in case you weren't aware, but also it still has to be like a fun shooting game, right? If the shooting wasn't enjoyable, you wouldn't play it, and that sort of undermines it a bit. Whereas this sort of encompasses the fact that the game is enjoyable to play. It's like it's a job that would be quite cool.
Sort of builds that into the story.
Yeah, like it all sort of, even though, as I say, it is a conflict, but it's one that exists in real life and makes a certain kind of sense. I absolutely love it. I really hope it comes to consoles, because it totally works with I play it with a controller. It's not like there's nothing like PC only about it. It's just it's really interesting, really enjoyable.
Sean, that's all interesting and that, but graphics, longevity,
sound,
sound effects, we're talking
replayability,
sound. Yep.
The sound design is actually really cool. It does this it's because it's aware of when you're in a pressurized space or not. So when you're not, there's no sound other than what's what comes into contact with your suit. So
all right. So what? So we saying a 7, 8?
It's a solid,
solid
7.
Out of 100,
what percentage are we looking?
We gave it 73 or 74. I don't know.
Okay.
It sounds like a 78 to me. But,
and again, it's sort of this implied message of it's a really chill game, but you start getting a bit brave and a bit sort of, I reckon I can do this more efficiently. And you little things like you realise that instead of using your boosters, which use fuel, you can grapple stuff and pull yourself towards it with your grappling hook, right? But then, and I sort of thought, I'll start doing that, because that'll save me fuel, that'll save me money, and I'll be quicker, I'll be more efficient. I'm going to be such a good worker. Literally, first time I tried it, fucking smashed my face against the spaceship and died.
Like me playing Warhol.
Good callback.
And again, it's this thing of you will be, because of the way the system is set up, you'll be tempted to take risks and cut corners, and people get hurt.
They were playing Warble.
Exactly. So yeah, it's really fucking interesting and really good.
And when you posted that piece of art, I'm like on Twitter, I was like, wow, that Hardspace art looks just like Citizen Sleeper. Yes, same person.
It was the artist. Yeah. He just did it was a bit of fan art. The Citizen Sleeper artist did to celebrate
a good connection.
Shipbreaker coming out. Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Oh,
it's very good.
All right, that was Hardspace Shipbreaker. James, you've got a couple of games left on your list. What we chatting here?
No, I mean the only thing because I've already talked about the other stuff apart from Cyberpunk, which I'm still playing, which is
but I've been playing that a little bit. Yeah, I did this one mission, James, where I completely fucked it. You know the mission where you go to the cloud, and which is like a.
It's where your saves are kept.
It's kind of a brothel.
Yeah,
but it's not really. It's brothel for kind of other things. Is the impression I got.
Yeah.
Well, there's this whole bit where you try and get into the VIP area, right?
Yes, yeah.
And what happened was I spoke to the bouncer, and the bouncer was like, "You ain't coming in. You're not authorized to go into the VIP area." And as the bouncer turned away, it said, "Grab." So I thought it was just going to be like, put your hand on the shoulder and turn them around and say, "Look, listen." So I pressed the grab button. Of course, I'm like,
choke the guy out. Yeah.
I've got grabbed them round the back of the neck, sort of snapped their neck, and then just sort of like ran up there while everyone was trying to get me. So it kind of ruined that mission for myself.
That was the mission that made me really start to enjoy the game because it was because there's multiple ways to get into that VIP area.
I can imagine that you do the right thing. You could probably pay your way up there.
Yeah,
you probably just steal someone's
hack
VIP
stuff.
card.
There's all sorts of stuff. It's
me. I accidentally hit grab and snapped the bloke's neck. And for the rest of the mission, I had every bouncer in the place trying to kill me. So I'm enjoying it actually. I'm enjoying it.
It is a really good game. It is a really good game. I mean, it's done that thing for me. I was saying to Matt the other day where it's like, I start playing at like 10 and then you look at the clock and it's like 12:30 or whatever, and it's like the time's gone pretty quickly and I didn't even realise. And
that's like just wild for James. Some people say that and they say, suddenly it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, James. I can't imagine ever doing that again in my life, playing video games till 3 a.m.
No, I can't.
That's not something I would ever do again.
Me neither.
Probably not.
You can't. You have to get up really early.
Exactly.
Cyberpunk is definitely going to be like the next game I play once Synergia is done. I feel like I've been, going around it, playing as other Cyberpunk things, watching Cyberpunk movies, and then I just need to get in and play this.
It's just the explanation of what the Johnny Silverhand stuff, I'm trying to avoid spoiling it. I was kind of like, Cyberpunk, isn't that supposed to be like ultra sci-fi? Whereas this is the most bullshit thing you will ever hear. Yeah, I was like, is that what's happening? Is it? Why? Doesn't matter. How? Not interested. This is just what I'm dealing with now, is it?
See, it's just weird though, isn't it? Because like, if this had come out, okay, this is a nonsense statement, but if this had come out without the ridiculous hype that was coming with it, this would have done. I think it was.
It's not about the hype. It's really about the condition it came out in.
I think it's both. Like, if
it had zero hype, but it came out like it did,
I think that damaged it more.
A mess.
Yeah, but I would say what's amazing is that now it feels like Fallout, right? It really does feel like Fallout.
It looks like it as well.
Now. Yeah, it does. It does.
That's what I mean by the hype.
All the things that are frustrating about Fallout, it is here, but. Yeah, I think the problem is it come out 2 years too early.
And it's like there's some parts of the game which do look incredible, like some really nice looking parts, but then also when you're just wandering around, it does look like Fallout. Like it doesn't look really good at all.
The way the characters sort of amble about. The characters are like, they wobble about.
It's just not believable, is it?
No,
it doesn't feel right.
How?
They don't feel right.
And but then there's bits when you like go into a bar or whatever, and it's obviously scripted, for like what you're supposed to do, and you're like, yeah, this looks brilliant. Like this looks really nice.
Is incredible.
And it's like, and then you walk out, and it's like, I feel like I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 4. Like it's.
How many scenes in the game are there where I can walk around in like a neon lit city in the pouring rain? That's what I want.
There's quite a lot. You can do that. That happens quite frequently.
But I guess do you go to movies where like Jesus, what is wrong with me tonight? Do you go to missions where like when you start a mission, it's nighttime because
Saturday night at the movies? Guess what? Who cares? Sorry, go on. You go to where?
See, are the missions basically like structured in like, okay, when he goes to his mission, it is going to be night time because that's when it was designated, or does it depend on what time you actually...
No, it's more open than that, in my experience, right?
No, there's definitely missions where you start the mission and then it just kind of fades out and then back in and it's night time or whatever.
There are those, but they're all on the main story.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. The side mission stuff doesn't seem to be like that. Although sometimes they'll say, go to this place at whatever time, and then it's the Fallout thing of like, okay, I need to go to that place and then press the wait button.
Oh, that's right. You do have to do that. It goes, come back here at 6. So you just press. Here's another problem that I had with it. So the bar that you go into a couple of times at the start of the game, there's one where they go, we're closed, what are you doing here? And you're like, I'm here to see such and such, trust me. And they go, okay, you could go in. You open the door and it's open. Yeah, it's just all the people there dancing and chatting. And I'm like, I thought it was closed. what the fuck?
Just closed.
Oh, yeah, everyone quick turn the lights out. He's coming here.
Okay, all right, that's probably enough Cyberpunk. Let's get questions done and get out of here.
If you want to do a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Ian Gawler Collins says, I took advantage of Game's offer of an Xbox Series S for $99.99 when you trade in any PS4 or Xbox One.
That's a fantastic offer.
May. So if you're listening to this now, it is, and if you're listening to this now, you've missed it.
Thanks,
Ian. As I took the console, I asked the guy behind the counter if they'd done a lot of these deals, and he replied that they hadn't. My question is this: does it surprise you that the Series S isn't flying out the door with this deal, given that it applies to everything from an original PS4s and Xboxes upwards? Wouldn't people jump at the opportunity? I mean, I didn't know.
I hadn't even heard of it, so that probably hasn't helped.
I think the game's still going.
Well, yeah.
Also, in my experience, when you try and do one of these trading deals with Game, they go, there's a slight scratch, so no.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, if you trade in a PS4, it might not be worth it, because they're still worth a fair bit. I think I got about 180 quid for my
Especially if it's got
PS4
PT
Pro.
installed.
Oh, yeah, but then for a trading price, that's pretty... That works out then, doesn't it? Because Series X is... You're basically getting £150 for your PS4 or Xbox
Sorry,
One.
yeah, it's $250, isn't it? Sorry, yeah. I think I've made the Series S cheaper in my head. No, it's fair dues. That is a really good deal. It's weird, isn't it? Because I do wonder how many people still think the Series S must be shit, given how cheap it is. But then
I should let.
I don't know. I feel like word should have spread by now that it's absolutely fine.
Wait, hold on. Is this finished? You can do this tomorrow, is it? So when it says by the 31st of May?
Yeah. So by the time this goes up,
so for us,
too late.
Like, because Ian's been thinking about getting an S. Do I tell him not take your shitty little one to a game? Again?
Yeah, definitely do that.
Well, God, yeah, because I've got an Xbox One.
I might buy an Xbox One for £12 somewhere.
Well, you can go and get a second.
Just get a second S. Maybe if I tape them together, it'll make an X.
That's how it works.
The S is a nice console. Yeah. I really like it. It's a really nice console.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like when Dave was saying about Microsoft Flight Sim and stuff, I'm just like, I mean, obviously the xCloud stuff is amazing, but yeah, there's no chance I'm dedicating the hard disk space to that again on the Series S. It's just ridiculous. It's like, well, that's basically half of your storage is gone to that one game. So that's only going to get worse, right? As time goes on, and as more games are, S and X certified. You know what I mean? Yeah, storage is definitely going to be a problem, but performance-wise, fuck it, it's ace.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCG, scope for the Super Nintendo. That's good. I like that. Okay. With Laser Quest soon to become part of TCGS lore, I wanted to ask about its video game cousin, the light gun shooter. What would it take for rail shooters to make a resurgence, or is it a dead genre? Also, what are the chances of James showing up to Laser Quest dressed as James Cools from Virtua Cop? Thank you for the weekly James delight and insights.
I'll say this: when we went to the Heart of Gaming in Croydon, that was the light gun games were the one that we all wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like going back into arcades and doing that again, Time Crisis and Point Blank and all that stuff, absolutely amazing. For the home, I can't see it making a resurgence at all.
Does it not work either because of how TVs are now?
Well,
That's right.
People say that, but that problem has been solved. Like you can get guns that work on modern tellies.
Oh, really?
But I guess there's just, as you say, perhaps just not enough of an appetite.
There was a House of the Dead remake that came out recently that was kind of panned. Yeah.
Was it? Because that only
it's
came
on
out
PC.
On Switch.
It's probably on consoles as well.
PC,
but
okay. Right, yeah.
If they brought out Virtua Cop for the Switch with like a cursor on screen at all time, but with the Switch, I'd play that. Why not?
Be all right.
Those games were great.
Well, I'm amazed that more people haven't seized upon VR as a reason to bring this stuff back. There have been a few, none of which I can name due to professional reasons. But I'm like the few that I've played, I'm just like, why aren't there fucking millions of these?
Yeah,
because they're great. They're really good fun. It's such a good way to reinvigorate the genre.
Let's just say Zombieland Headshot Fever is a great. It's an arcade shooter kind of combined with a racing game. It's out on Quest now, but
I don't want to put.
You're totally right, Sean.
Still waiting for the PSVR release of that, Matt. Still waiting for the PSVR release of that. Where are we on that?
What the fuck? Are you in Shell now? Wait, are we going to start sending... Where do we send our invoices, Matt?
That was an advert. I think I said it under 5 seconds. That doesn't officially count as an advert.
No, you can't just... wait. You can't just ring up shows and just blurt out product names and say, it's under 5 seconds. It's all right.
Zombieland now for Quest. But no, you're totally right, Sean. I thought, come on, Sega, make House of Dead VR or like Virtua Cop VR, it would work brilliantly in VR. It would work so well.
Yeah.
Virtua Cop VR.
I don't know why they're not doing it. It would do really well, I think.
Like I can understand. Sorry, I was going to say I can understand why like a straight port might not work because obviously, Virtua Cop, for example, obviously it's a fixed like field of view, right? So you're playing it in VR and it'd be like, oh, I can look around. Oh, there's nothing else happening outside of where I'm supposed to be looking.
You'd have to redo it all, yeah.
But yeah, there is clearly scope for something like that. Like you say, imagine if they just did a new Virtua Cop.
So on Quest at least, there's Archangel. There's like Drop Dead, that's basically kind of a House of the Dead style
Super
thing
hot
on VR. Yeah, so there are a bunch, and
super hot.
I'd like to see
more.
Yeah.
Do you remember playing Time Crisis on the PlayStation? Do you remember doing that?
The gun had the button? Didn't the gun have the button?
Gun.
Yeah.
Sorry, the gun had the button on the left. Yeah, the left-hand side of the thing. But to do the paddle thing, you put the controller on the floor and sort of just stood on the buttons. And I was like, because when you play Time Crisis, you've got that big paddle thing. Yeah, and you press the paddle down to like hide or whatever.
Yeah.
Or is it? Did you press the paddle down to jump out? It was one of the way. I can never remember which way it was. But yeah, the alternative for that on the PlayStation was you put the pad on the floor and press the buttons with your foot. And it was like, this doesn't feel the same. This feels awful.
Yeah, I just googled on-rail shooter on Steam and there's a picture of Zombieland there in the top sellers chart. How weird. But yeah, there are loads, and I can't believe why there isn't more. Frankly, come on.
Alternatively, don't buy Zombieland.
Yeah, of course you can. You have millions to do what you want. But
Matt actually
just
being paid
please,
by the company,
I need to save my job. Please, she's bad at game.
Next.
Lars Hedderdam says, evening lads, quick question. What brings you more joy, to beat your friend and or co-host in a multiplayer game, or to recommend a game which they end up liking?
Definitely the latter.
Oh, definitely 100% the second one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Easy. When you recommend a game and then everyone goes, that's brilliant. That is like, yes, I've done it.
That is
Easy.
That is the reason to do this show, right?
100%.
If I had to pick one, like that,
Sean,
that's the best part of the job.
Is the Farlone sales moment one of your top 5 moments of all time in your life?
In my actual
you
life.
recommended a game, we're like, what is this? And then we all not only played it, which in itself was maybe like, will I even play it? But the fact we went away and then bloody loved it.
Well, yeah, and then that sort of followed on with the listeners as well, and there was like a good few months where people were still like, "Oh yeah, no, I finally played it."
That's the ultimate. I think recommend it, and then
man,
we all went away and then played it and loved it. Yeah, what a game.
Yeah, man, what a game. Shame about the sequel. Well, not shame about the sequel, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, shame about the sequel. I fucking hated it in the end.
I didn't hate it.
Did you?
It just did nothing.
I didn't finish it.
More
I
than the
deleted
first
it.
one.
I got
In fact,
angry.
It wasn't very
the
good.
first one.
This is what
good.
came before of it, and it was
it was definitely a lesser game.
It was.
You could be forgiven for thinking
it was the first game
again,
around, just slightly worse than the first game, and not for with a telegraphed ending.
Yeah. All right.
Don Johnston says, question section. Hi chaps, have you ever seen the short clip of the train station demo in Unreal Engine 5 on YouTube? It's almost like real life. Does this make you excited for what games could look like in the next few years? And would Matt be brave enough to play or stream a horror game in that game environment just for viewer entertainment?
That did look incredible, that.
Yeah, it gave me a heart attack, that clip, because I was like, okay, where's the bit where something really realistic jumps out?
Well, this is it, because you're looking at the footage initially, and it's like, oh my god, this is incredible, and then it goes to nighttime. It's like, nope, don't want this. Don't games to ever look like this.
I don't want to ever no, thank you. My life.
Yep. But it was really impressive.
Yeah, it's incredible. Definitely search that on YouTube or whatever. Train station demo Unreal Engine 5.
Yep.
Because it is unbelievable.
It looks so good. I mean, like, it's just got that. It's got that PT look. The PT looked great at the time. It's like the way that the lighting is. Yeah. So I was fully expecting a jump, but no, it's so impressive, and I think that's done with like one or two people, and that's just like
and especially like it's smart that like for the sake of that video they used was it a motion controller or a VR headset they used to capture the movement.
Yeah, it was,
so that's why
to the
it
head.
looks like this looks like
VR,
someone
like it's not
that's
VR.
That's why it looks all wobbly and that.
Yeah.
Did you see someone's recreated it as well in Dreams?
Yes, I did.
Well.
Yeah.
It also looks pretty good.
Amazing.
MD Krabuffs says, are you related to anyone famous? If not, which famous person would you adopt into your family?
No, I'm not related to anyone. When my brother was in, my brother was on the bill, but everyone was on the bill.
I wasn't.
He was Reg.
He was Reg.
Oh, I'm not Reg.
I'm joking.
Was he a
never watched the bill?
Oh, I felt sorry for Reg from the Bill because our school, there was a rumour going around about Reg from the Bill that he hates being called Reg.
From the Bill.
Right, and if you ever see him, you're not supposed to call him Reg, like in real life. And of course, he lived around the local area because all that stuff was like filmed around here. So we used to see Reg all the time, and people would just shout Reg at him all the time because of this rumour that went around the school. Hey, Reg! And he sort of just kind of ignored you a bit, moved on.
They
wouldn't stop us shouting Reg.
They film everything around your way, don't they? The Bill, Fake Taxi, everything. The whole
EastEnders,
those
the
two,
whole
actually.
range.
Emmerdale.
I don't think we said that on the actual show, though. on.
Love Island.
They filmed fake taxi around here.
Neighbours.
Yeah, Star Wars. Right, okay. What was the question?
Are you related to anyone famous? If not, which famous person would you adopt into your family?
Oh, famous person.
Would it have to be, when you say adopt, it doesn't have to be like as a child, right? Could I just adopt Keanu Reeves as my son?
Yeah, I don't know how it work age-wise, but...
Right.
You can. Oh, that's something we didn't talk about in Cyberpunk. He's not an actor, is he, Keanu Reeves? I mean,
he's just much an actor.
That's really rough.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You've not seen the new Matrix movie?
He has a range which is limited, but he's good at what he does, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he was good in Cyberpunk, is he? Do you find that?
Johnny Silverhand is kind of a silly character.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be charismatic, and
he's not. He's just a dick. Like he's
not really pull that off. Oh, I don't know. Who do I really like?
While you're thinking about that, I'm not related to anyone. Although my grandparents, when I was younger, said I was related. Obviously, bollocks. I don't quite know where I said it. Said I was related to this old Formula One driver called Mark Blundell. Now I haven't done the research. I'm fairly sure it's not the case. I think I was maybe watching F1 when I was young. And they're like, yeah, you're related to him. Like, okay, cool. Anyway, I don't know.
British, here he is, Mark Blundell, British Motorsports Racing.
I should probably look at the family tree.
He's real.
He's my brother, for fuck's sake.
I've got an answer now. Tim Robinson. Because could you imagine that at like Sunday dinners, just sitting down and seeing the weird shit he comes out with?
Yeah, but you're part of your family, so they would be like, can I just eat my dinner in peace? Like, I'm not on right now, I'm with my family.
Yeah, but you've not seen the episode of Detroiters where he literally addresses this subject. where he's obsessed with a clown that's at a party that isn't on. Like he's not working, but he's still in a clown costume because he's got a job later on. And he's going, well, you've got to do some clown stuff. And no, I'm not working at the moment, mate. But come on, let's do some clown stuff. And then right at the end, he does some clown stuff, and it's the funniest thing. Oh God,
I need to watch that.
You're telling me that?
What's that on, Dave? Detroiters.
Right,
okay. No,
Uncle
say
Don.
no more.
The
Speak to Uncle Don. It'll sort you out. It's very good, Detroit. It's very, very funny, that program. Yeah, you got to watch that, Sean.
I will.
This is basically like
what
celebrities do we love? So I'm going to say
pretty much.
James?
I'm going to adopt James.
Celebrities.
Son or dad?
Pick a celebrity.
I don't love any celebrities. I can't think of anyone. Do they have to be alive?
You can't think of a... Yeah, they need to be alive, mate.
I don't know.
You can't think of a single... Well, it'd be pretty stupid adopting a dead celebrity.
Yeah, bring him back.
Here's my brother.
No, that's not part of it at all. Sean, you've just added that bit. That's not part of it. James, you can't think of any celebrity.
Kevin Keegan.
Oh, yes, great choice. That would be... He'll definitely have some stories. So that's a good one. I reckon. My one would be AC Jimbo.
I'd love it.
I would bloody love it if he was related to you. Yeah.
Sean?
No, I said Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves would be my son.
Oh, that's
to call me dad.
Yeah.
AC Jimbo. Did you just refer to someone by their
Well, that's
Twitter
just what he's always known as. Since he was doing like Football Italia.
Well, it says here James Richardson.
Or his real name, James Richardson.
Just AC Jimbo.
I just realised, could I make Phil Spencer my uncle?
Sure.
Cool. Well, I'll do that.
Surely
then.
You should have someone from Nintendo as your uncle, and then you can literally say,
"That's true." You can literally turn around and say, "My uncle's got the new."
Yeah.
Brilliant. Perfect.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, we got that in the end.
Together, but, I got there.
We persevered, muddled through.
Yes.
And that's the end of the question section.
Yeah, so TCGSCON tickets still on sale, just a handful left. Go to tcgs.co/TCGSCON if you want to be there on the 2nd of July, which by my count is about a month away. Holy shit, we better start doing some stuff.
No, it is a month away when this comes out, isn't it?
A month and a day away. Oh my god, it's actually happening. Oh, shit.
I can't wait.
No, it's going to be amazing, but there's also lots of things to do in the meantime. June is going to be such a busy month. There's so much to do. But anyway, it's going to be so that's a month away. So yeah, go there if you want to get tickets. Streaming wise, no stream on Thursday, but Friday, James is streaming either Streets of Rage or maybe the Stanley Parable.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one. One of those.
Oh, Stanley Parable.
So
would be good. I like
that'll be twitch.tv/TCGSCO or search TCGS in the app. Friday night from 9 p.m. If you miss them live,
I might do a poll.
Oh, you could do a Twitter poll. Twitter poll?
Or just do one week and then the other the next week.
Yeah, which one do
Stanley Parable.
Sean, can you just decide for me?
I think Streets of Rage Till I Die would be good. I think because you didn't. Okay. I think if you alternate between a Till I Die and then something else, I think that'd be cool.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so it's Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage Till I Die. It is. If you miss that live, or if you miss any of our streams live, just go to YouTube, search TCGS, and you'll find all the previous Sea of Friends.
Not any of our streams.
Well, most of the streams. Search for video. Not now, Siri.
I mean, I did a stream last week. Didn't quite make it onto our
YouTube
channel.
On that day.
Didn't make the cut.
Didn't make the cut.
Quality control.
Didn't make the cut on the. I was going to say on the YouTube account that has literal pornography on it.
I had a Wednesday and Thursday. I was out evening things, and I was in no state. Okay. And I saw tweets saying I did an experimental stream. I'm like, whatever. Okay. Next.
I streamed on Wednesday. That didn't make it onto the YouTube channel. You were out. Okay, fine. If that's your
Wednesday,
excuse, fine. I get that. James streamed on Thursday. You were out.
No, Friday. Because Sean was Thursday.
I'm Thursday.
Oh, Friday. Okay, so
but Sean's a real stream.
Thursday,
and
ended up on
I saw some messages.
Real stream.
Sean and James are real streams, and you said I've done some experimental shit, and I'm like, I haven't even got time to check. I'm sure it's not worth the hassle, so I just moved on.
Just put it.
What did you stream?
Isn't it?
Banjo something.
Banjo
What's experimental about it?
Sorry.
That's the experimental aspect. There's no camera.
Didn't have the camera on.
I thought it was gonna be like some Bowie shit.
Yeah, I know that. I just have a feeling that Matt really doesn't like the idea of a stream without a camera on.
The experimental stuff, I thought, wow, he's like gone into OBS, he's doing crazy camera angles, he's doing like, I don't know, tilt shift. And no, the experimental stuff is that there's no camera.
Why would you have ever thought that?
That's very experimental.
Yeah, there's no camera on. I didn't want any camera on. I'm so sick. I don't want no camera on. I don't want the camera on.
How did it go?
I just want to play a game. I could talk to people. It went really well. I enjoyed it more than I have any other stream because I weren't worried about the camera.
Yeah, I mean, it is the less stress you have,
on.
the
Where
enjoyment
do I
goes up. So I don't blame you. Well, I'll put it on our Vimeo account.
Oh, I don't want it. I don't want you to put it anywhere. I want you to delete it. I'm gonna keep doing them.
No, if I'm not out, I might put up on a YouTube channel. It depends.
Sean, do you remember when he was like, "Oh, we've really got to focus on video"? All right, well, I've done a video.
Yeah, well,
I'm not going to put it up.
I've said about every year for the last 7, and now look where we are. I'll put it on. No, I'll yeah, unless I'm busy, I'll put it up on the website.
Put it up. I don't want you to put it up.
I'll put it up, David.
Don't want it up.
I will put it up.
I don't want you to put it up
right now.
Because clearly you got a problem.
No, I'll put it up now.
A problem with
Your experiment. I'm going to call it the most experimental stream known to man.
Gonna blow your fucking mind.
You will not believe. Yeah, brackets. What I mean is no cam. Anyway, where was I?
It's like the Aphex twin of streaming.
Yeah. This stream has changed the game. Brackets. No cam. Very experimental. Right, if you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime Gaming, link your 2 accounts, go to our account, give us a free sub. We really appreciate it. We genuinely do. Patrons, David mentioned at the beginning, patreon.com/TCGS. By the time you hear this on the first, perfect time to subscribe. If you subscribe at various tiers, you'll hear every Patreon bonus show we've done since we started the Patreon. Our very naughty talks over for this month if you go to that tier and you can see what the hell James did to our YouTube account before it probably gets shut down in the coming days.
We can say what the hell
we want. If you are buying V-Bucks or something on like Epic Game Store,
right? Okay, can we not do this one anymore? Can we remove this from socials?
I guess I don't. Who cares?
Here's the thing. When we talked about doing adverts and whether we were comfortable with doing adverts, we got approached by a bunch of companies that said, "Oh, we won't pay you, but if you put a code there, you'll get a bit of a kickback if you sell anything." And we said, "No, because there's value in us mentioning your name or your shop or whatever, and we should be paid for that." Epic of managing to do it. We've not had a fucking penny out of Epic, yet we mention their store every fucking week.
But the more we mention it, maybe people will buy, when they buy V-Bucks, they'll enter the credit
card. Can we keep mentioning it until we cross that 50 quid threshold or whatever it is, and then we can stop?
How close?
Because we've already got some money in the bank there that we can't
access the money
unless.
But how? How close are we? Last time we checked, it was like 5.
I don't know. Last I checked, it was like £11.50.
And secondly, say we get to that 50, they would have had about a year's worth of us talking about their fucking store.
Yeah, of course, that's what they do.
It's a great store. Sales currently on, summer sales on. It's great shop.
Let's stop. Let's get rid of that.
All that work, Sean, like to get us to be a creator. I can't.
Yeah.
The emails, the sign-ups, the forms I had to fill out.
Yeah, to meet with Tim. Big Tim.
Big Sweeney on Teams.
Big Sweeney Tim.
Big Sweeney Tim on Teams. And okay, fuck the Epic Game Store. Go to TCGS.co is the website. That's where we've got links to our lovely Discord. If you want to talk about the rest of the community, go there. Tickets, merch, other stuff, just go over there, please. That's it.
That's it, man. Seriously, it's getting down to it now. Just say, if you really fancy it next week, next month, wherever it is, get your tickets.
It's the greatest
ever. The greatest ever all the time. We will catch you next week. Thank you so much for living it. Take it easy. Have a lovely Queen Day, yeah?
Oh,
you go out, you bloody love that Queen this weekend.
Top Platty Jubes.
Is it Platty
Jubes? Let's go out. God bless her.
I'm off on a stag do, so that's what she would have wanted. Oh, she's not dead.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, she might be. I'm not convinced.
Well, I mean, I've heard a couple of things. Oh, that reminds me, actually, right? Can I tell you this little story before we go?
It's 12:10, but go on.
I don't give a fuck. It's not over here. It's 11 over here, James. Whose fault was that? Right. So, you know, Harry's like been on YouTube and stuff a lot recently. Yeah. He come up to me the other day and said, "Here, watch this, Dad." And it was a theory about Nemo, finding Nemo. Right. And it was like this story about how actually here's a creepy sort of theory about Nemo. Nemo never existed. Nemo died, and it's been a figment of the dad's imagination. And Nemo in a different language is no one or something. No name, and, and blah, blah, blah. And took it all through. And Harry was like, look at that. What do you think of that? And I thought, that's a cool little theory there, dude. But if I start hearing what's his face, like Alex Jones or whatever, bleating out of your fucking phone, like I've got a feeling my son might be turning into a conspiracy theory guy.
The same thing happened with Asher with Peppa Pig.
Really?
Yeah, because somebody shared this Peppa Pig theory that's been going around as well.
What's that?
Which is horrific. Like it's also like to do with it's all like a figment of someone's imagination who died, and it's just.
You're not
all
thinking
just
of In the Night Garden, because that's
no.
This is at the start of every episode is Iggle Piggle giving up and dying of a mad fever on his boat. That's what's happening in that show, and that's the whole Night Garden is just his weird dreams as he dies.
But the Peppa Pig thing involves this like there's an image from one of the episodes apparently where there's like Peppa is inside the house but also outside the house. So then somebody made up this story about how it was like there's one being held captive inside the house, and it's all just it's messed up.
You've got way too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'm just thinking there's only a minor step from little theories about shows like that to full on
flat.
Yeah.
Is he listening to Joe Rogan yet?
Okay, two things. An update on the Epic Game Store. We're now 20% of the way there. So we basically doubled what we did like a couple of weeks ago.
There you go.
So
how
much is
just
that?
Under £20.
That's £10. 20. Hold on.
Just under 20 quid.
£10.
It's path to $100.
Oh my god.
So that's 40% then. Oh, $100.
It's minimum 100 to get a payout.
Right. We're not doing it no more. We're not doing it no more.
It's going to be an excruciating.
Everyone, just remember the code and put it in, and I won't mention it. Everyone listening, just enter the code, but I won't mention it on the show.
We'll never mention it again.
Two, am I allowed to call it E3 month or not? But it is E3 season, regardless of the organisation.
It's not.
Being
Summer
there.
Games Fest now.
Oh, am I?
It's been taken over.
Is that what I call it?
E3's not a thing, and there's hardly any conferences. So what is E3 season
conferences?
to you then, Matt?
We've got Microsoft.
Some
we're
conferences.
Nintendo.
A small number.
We have Jeff Keighley.
We've got one. We've got Microsoft. We've probably
Nintendo will do something for sure. We've got Keighley. We've got Microsoft. We'll have all the other smaller indie ones.
Mm-hmm.
We've had like the Wholesome Directs confirmed. We've got like 4 or 5 little ones confirmed.
The Gorilla one.
Is there going to be a PC gaming show?
Of course there will be.
They've not said.
I'm sure there will be.
Do you want to do
those guys are free?
No, I don't think it's worth that. But I'm just like, in my mind, can I call it E3?
Good. In your mind, you can, just not out loud.
Well, you know what? Fuck it. It's E3 for me. It may be a very diluted version, but it's still E3 for me.
It's still real for me.
It's still E3 for me, motherfuckers.
Right.
Okay.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, see ya.
internet porn.
What?